She looks surprised, almost startled by something off-screen. A bird feeds its young, flying quickly toward its nest for Lunar New Year. Time passes after Lunar New Year as family sees off a relative. They ask about how she has been. The relatives watch a video of a baby saying a boo and crawling towards their mother. They marvel at how smart the child is. Hanjia, a 32-year-old freelancer, is cooking and being cheered on. While Hanjia cooks, her relative says she is jobless. She says that she will start looking for a job soon. Hanjia scolds them for eating with their hands and demands they help cook. Hanjia complains that she has to do all the work herself. Her relatives criticize her for being jobless. Suddenly, a little girl yells, "Grandma," and runs to hug her. The family welcomes them inside, asking how they are. Her sister arrives, and they greet each other warmly after a long time apart. Her sister hands Hanjia a floral apron, hoping she likes it. It's been a long time since they've seen each other. The family insists Hanjia wear the apron. They tell her to wear it while they are still being. Hanjia jokingly says that the apron is nice, but then gets flicked on the forehead. She complains about the pain. Hanjia yells, asking why she was hit. Her family tries to make her rest and not work so much. Her brother chimes in to say to stop picking on her. The family continues to pester Hanjia, asking if she is drunk for not helping. Hanjia gets some fresh air. She is clearly annoyed by something someone said. Damn it, what? Someone off-screen asks Hanjia if she knows any uncles, suggesting a match. They joke about his foul mouth. Hanjia sees a man eating chicken in a smoking area and wonders who he is and why he is doing that. A woman sitting nearby is clearly annoyed by Hanjia's presence. She confronts him, asking, "Excuse me, but who are you?" The man says he's Jin Mincchial, a neighbor who always wore headphones. She pauses, a memory surfacing. Hanjia's eyes widen in disbelief as a memory suddenly resurfaces. She screams in realization, shocked at the sudden memory. Hanjia struggles to reconcile her memories with the man before her. She points accusingly as he eats the chicken. Jin Mincchial thinks to himself that he was supposed to eat at home. He calls Hanjia crazy. She pauses, a sudden realization. Wait, he's not exactly my friend. The story shifts to a flashback about those who never fit in. Hanjia reflects on her memories, describing Jin Mincchial as a timid boy. Hanjia sighs while smoking a cigarette and wonders why she is thinking of the past. Hanjia laments her current state, referring to herself as a jobless, ugly duckling with nowhere to go. Hanjia reflects that Jin Mincchial has changed a lot. I guess soul water does make changes. Hanjia realizes she's been cursed for being alive. She wishes the world would just split in half. Her relatives continue to speak ill of her. They complain about her appearance and current life choices. She's surprised by the question, stuttering in response, "Huh." Jin Mincchial says going to work, exercising, playing games, and sleeping is life. His companion wonders if that counts as living life to the fullest. Hanjia thinks about her parents nagging and being signed up for a marriage information company. Hanjia and her family look at her with hopeful smiles. She wonders what they're planning. Jin Mincchial is surprised and asks him. The woman beside him asks if they should just get married. The woman next to Jin Mincchial continues, suggesting that marriage will solve everything. She says that since they are both single, they should get married. Do you understand? The woman is surprised by Hanjia's sudden confession. She complains that she can't even joke with her. AHAHAHA. She laughs, saying AHAHAHA, then she mutters just, like, Hanjia seems to have realized something. The scene cuts to a marriage proposal, with people excitedly urging them to get married. Hanjia is dressed in a wedding dress, next to a man in a suit, confused. The scene flashes to a group of people celebrating with open arms. They are congratulating them. Hearing Hanjia's suggestion, the group starts playing a game of Jock Goo. As they play, Jin Mincchial reflects that marriage is surely a good thing. Before Hanjia can respond, a relative wonders why she isn't cleaning up yet. She's holding a can of soda. Hanjia looks distraught as she overhears, "Going to after I finish this." The story title appears, somehow a match made in heaven. Is this destiny? The chapter ends. Check out our team on Discord to help support us. Let's pause here to appreciate the character design for our protagonist Hanjia. And that's how they ended up actually getting married. End of summary. Yes, that's how they got married. It's also their honeymoon night. But Hanjia is shocked. She didn't realize they were really on their honeymoon. She looks at her passport in disbelief. This is weird. Why am I in a foreign country? She pinches her cheek, hoping it's a dream, but it hurts. This is real after all. Hanjia mumbles to herself, am I really married to that guy? Why? She's freaking out and yelling at herself. Hanjia, pull yourself together, get a grip. Mincchial rummages through a suitcase while Hanjia asks him what he's doing. He says he's looking for something he brought. She asks what it is. Hanjia thinks, ah, I see, so he came prepared for something like this. What? She's shocked, don't tell me, cobalt blue, a lady asks, do I look good in cobalt blue? Stop it, Tilda. Hanjia is flustered. There's no way, well yeah, we're married, but this is too sudden. Mincchial approaches Hanjia, who's sitting on the bed, flustered. Jia here. She panics, wait, my heart isn't ready yet. Mincchial presents Hanjia with something in his hand. What could it be? Mincchial explains he snores when he's tired, handing Hanjia earplugs before going to bed. Hanjia watches Mincchial sleeping soundly with his eye mask on. He's already snoring away. Hanjia puts in the earplugs. What did I even expect from this guy? The panel shows expectation side. Fireworks, food, and friendly locals welcome them. Hanjia is stressed about what to wear on her honeymoon. Just what am I supposed to wear? Hanjia tries to choose an outfit that doesn't scream honeymoon. Mincchial yawns, asking how much longer she'll take. Hanjia is in disbelief at Mincchial's outfit. Kyaa, this crazy guy, what's with your clothes? Hanjia yells at him for wearing socks with sandals. He replies that it's comfortable and no one will see it anyway. Mincchial pulls Hanjia by the arm. He tells her to come, saying it's not time to worry about the itinerary. Hanjia thinks, well, I said that, but honestly I'm not that confident either. Hanjia is looking at the outfit and thinks, no matter what he wears, I'll say it's good. Mincchial asks if his outfit is good enough, claiming he won't get hit by a car. Hanjia wishes he'd dress normally. Mincchial asks if he looks good, adjusting his shirt. Hanjia responds, you look good. Hanjia tells Mincchial, at least to me you look good, so just let it be. Mincchial says, give me 7 sets of what I'm wearing. Hanjia shouts, stop. Mincchial asks why Hanjia wants so many of the same outfit. She tells him she's got it and to go try them. Hanjia asks if their next event is the banana boat ride. Mincchial thinks it maybe is. Mincchial asks Hanjia what she thinks of the 7 sets of outfits. She's in disbelief. Hanjia looks shocked at Mincchial standing next to her. What? Whoa, hold up, that's the end of the chapter. Tune in next time. Hanjia blinks in surprise. She looks up, ready to see what's in front of her. He continues asking Hanjia if their next itinerary is the banana boat. Since she's picking clothes for him, he'll pick swimwear for her. Hanjia's eyes widen in horror. She seems very surprised by his suggestion. Mincchial gets confused, the words forming a bubble. What? They're at the beach and Jia hugs a shopping bag close to her chest. She's blushing and thinking he bought it. Jia thinks back, Mincchial told her to wear the swimwear he picked out for her. She's missing something. Jia is still surprised, thinking, I thought he wasn't that type of guy. Mincchial checks his phone. Jia sighs in relief after closing the door, wondering what swimwear he even picked out. They are finally at the beach. Jia recalls the bold design, like the one on the mannequin. She thinks Mincchial's actions are confusing her. Jia says, oh, looking out at the expansive view of the beach. Suddenly Mincchial's voice booms, how is it, Jia, you like it? Hanjia is surrounded by beachgoers. Mincchial explains the swimwear's features. He asks Jia if it's amazing, right? We're on our honeymoon. Jia's face shows annoyance. Yeah, of course, she replies. Mincchial tells her to look around if she has eyes. Jia relaxes on the beach chair, sunglasses on, so this is what he meant. He concludes, I see, so because the weather is hot, everyone took off their clothes. She's lost for words, wondering what he's planning by making her wear this. I'm too embarrassed to enjoy this. Jia screams as she enjoys the water. I enjoyed it to the fullest. Time passes as they have fun on their honeymoon. They take many pictures together and splash around in the water, enjoying their time together. Mincchial walks ahead, checking the itinerary. Gia stares intensely at her phone, flustered about the day's events. Hanjia's name is called out. Mincchial suggests that she take a rest. Gia argues they've a lot to do. Mincchial notices Gia's heels. Then suddenly Gia falls, scraping her knee pretty badly. Mincchial tries to help Gia up, telling her to get on. Gia looks at him, surprised. He insists it's nothing and she shouldn't worry. Mincchial wants to return since Gia is injured, but Gia insists on finishing their itinerary, wanting to rest later. Mincchial carries Gia on his back as they walk through the beach. Gia asks, "Aren't I heavy? I can walk though." Mincchial denies, twisting the truth. He says her weight is perfect for a workout, but Gia tells him to stop it. Hanjia thinks, just how long has it been since someone carried me? She feels reassured being on his back. Mincchial playfully blows on Gia's ear as he carries her. Gia finally says, "Hey," flustered. They sit together on the beach, watching the sunset. The honeymoon continues as they grow closer together. Gia tells Mincchial to stop because she wants to take pictures together. He responds saying they took a lot earlier. Lying in bed, Gia looks at their honeymoon picture. She ponders, remembering the fun she had with Mincchial. Gia lies in bed, remembering the advice from a married woman. She realizes they aren't fighting at all. Gia smiles to herself, covering her face with her hands. To be honest, it was really fun. Hanjia startles awake in bed, flustered from remembering Mincchial's words. Get on. Gia still lies in bed, flustered and embarrassed. She recalls being carried by Mincchial on the beach. She realizes she was very lonely. That's why just having someone makes her happy. Affection is accumulated. Lying in bed, Gia pulls the covers up to her chin, resolving to enjoy the honeymoon. Looking at the clear skies, Gia thinks, but still, this isn't half bad either, right? The honeymoon ended more smoothly than expected, and they returned home safely. Time to eat. Gia stares blankly, blushing. Ooh, she says as she starts connecting the dots. Mrs. Kim made an extravagant meal for their safe return. Gia wonders what the boxes are for. But then Gia is suddenly told she's moving in with Jin Mincchial. She's shocked, responding me. Gia is still processing the sudden news. She recalls her parents' words on her wedding day. Then Hanjia hears a voice calling out to her. Shall we begin? A man says. The words "to be continued" appear on screen. What will happen next? The chapter ends, inviting readers to join the Discord server. Readers can also donate. Hanjia grips the table, knuckles white. She's clearly stressed, but about what? Across from Hanjia, Mincchial stares intently. He holds a paper and asks, "Then Hanjia, shall we begin?" Before the story begins, the author has a random thing to say. The author quotes a song, reflecting on her younger years and writing lyrics. But still, everyone makes mistakes in life. Hanjia wonders if she messed up a long time ago. Damn it. A flashback begins with Gia and an unknown man sitting side by side as someone asks, "Just get married." The man wonders if they should discuss their contract first. Gia questions what C-contract even means. A pre-contract checklist appears. Gia slams her hand on the table, enraged. What the heck is this? Mincchial, kneeling, asks what's wrong. Holding the contract, Hanjia wonders if these clauses are really necessary. The man asks if she's done, but she replies she is not. Gia stares intensely, sweat dripping. Whatever can happen will happen, someone declares. They're ready to show everything they wrote. The man explains 1, 2, Gia grits her teeth holding the contract. 3, she explodes in anger. Each holds their own contract. Hanjia's lists several strange rules, already infuriating her. These can't be serious. Gia argues it's too much to ask so suddenly, as even her dad couldn't make her quit. It's suffering. Another rule is revealed. Don't bother Rat. Gia screams she doesn't get it. The cat Rat approaches. Look how smart Rat is, the man says. She knew we were talking about her. The man explains cats love rats, which is why he named her Rat. So I'm hand chicken feet then. Rat says hello to Gia in a falsetto. Gia responds hesitantly. Anyway, you have a cat. The man holds Rat and asks, you hate her. Gia hesitates, looking uncomfortable, and responds with Jia looks uneasy as the man says he's glad she likes cats. You want to hold her? He asks, surprising Jia. Jia is holding Rat, who seems very comfortable. She really is. Cute, isn't she? Jia thinks. Jin asks one more thing. Jia wonders what Jin would do if she said she hated cats or was allergic. Would you kick me out? Suddenly Jin says, nope, I will put her in a separate house. Jia replies with a confused what. Jin insists money isn't the issue. He reminds Jia they're a married couple. Jia asks if he agrees. She thinks, Mincchial, he put a lot of thought into our marriage. Jia thinks she didn't put much thought into the contract at the time. Suddenly Hanjia remembers something important. Jin looks at her and asks what it is. The contract's text appears. This contract marriage can be cancelled by one of the parties at any time. Hanjia, looking sly, wonders if that was the condition stated initially. A title card appears. We, who are not mature yet, made the first lie. Jin follows up on Hanjia's realization. He grins, confidently stating, I'll be in your favor from now on. Hanjia smiles, thinking Jin will soon be in her grasp. Me too. A piece of paper shows Hanjia's name with a thumbprint. Please read the manhwa on the official scanlation site. Support the creators. She pets her cat Rat after a long day of work, looking exhausted. She recalls the day she signed the contract with Mincchial. Jia reflects on her first night at Mincchial's house, surprisingly peaceful. A new phone pings, signaling the completion of the purchase. Jia checks her phone, confirming her furniture purchase. She wonders if Mincchial will go to work tomorrow. Jia stretches in bed, enjoying the soft blanket her mom bought for her. She wonders if she should sleep now. Jia lies in bed, still processing the reality. Is this place really my home from now on? I can't believe I'm married. That means Mincchial is just next door, Jia thinks, suddenly aware of his presence. She then hears him gaming. Jia sighs, overwhelmed by the situation. Phew, really. I should have lived with someone other than family. She thinks sleepily, but nervousness creeps in, making sleep seem impossible. Jia falls asleep soundly, the fatigue finally overwhelming her. She snoozes, unaware of the outside world. Jia slept deeply, completely unaware of the strange turn her life had taken. Meanwhile, Mincchial is cooking. Jia stirs slightly in her sleep, HNG. She hears a noise. What's that noise? It's still early in the morning. Jia stretches. Mincchial is making breakfast, noticing Jia awake. Morning, wanna eat together? Jia is surprised. Taking care of me? Of course I'm thankful. Jia watches him cook, surprised and unsure of how to react to Mincchial. Jia thinks he's surprisingly diligent, huh? A company employee makes his own breakfast. Mincchial is about to blend vegetables to cook. Jia watches him, still half asleep, and wonders. Mincchial serves Jia his special chicken breast protein shake. It's healthy but not very tasty, he says. Mincchial hands her the drink, saying it's breakfast. Jia stares at the drink. So this is a meal. Jia recoils dramatically at the sight of the drink. Hey Mincchial, one question, is this breakfast? Jia's face shifts, she exclaims, of course not. Then Mincchial shows her a protein bar. Jia explodes, shocked by his offering. Jin, Mincchial, are you kidding me? Just give me cereal. Jia says that Mincchial will eat a delicious lunch anyway since he is going to work. Jia recalls Mincchial eating chicken breast even on Lunar New Year. No way a human lives off that stuff. Jia opens the fridge, hoping for something better. If I look inside the fridge, I'm sure. Jia's asleep, drooling. Mincchial, wearing an apron, silently promises, Mom, I'm sorry. I won't complain about your side dishes from now on. I will be. Jia wakes up thinking, a good start to the day, so. Jia asks if she has to eat only soup and rice. Mincchial says that's enough for him. Jia realizes she got permission to live with him. Am I stupid? Jia wakes up slowly as she hears Mincchial leaving. Where are you going? To work. Jia, still in pajamas, sleepily says goodbye to Mincchial as he heads out to work. Okay, bye. Mincchial says he's looking for a job too. Jia is flustered. It's my first day, don't humiliate me. Jia cheerfully waves Mincchial goodbye, wishing him a good day at work. Mincchial, slightly taken aback by her enthusiasm, replies with a simple, yeah. Jia smirks, thinking, just kidding, I'm going to play as much as I can. Jia shouts gleefully, I have to play as much as I can before the money runs out. The building appears punctuated by sounds of laughter. BWHAHA. Driving to work, Gia sighs and mutters to herself, I envy them. Suddenly, Gia has a flashback of Mincchial with a girl at the crosswalk. Driving in his car, assistant manager Jin says, oh, it's been a while. The Scanlation group asks for support to keep the series running. After a long day, Hanjia rests, Rat curled up and sleeping soundly on her. Choi Sang-woo, Mincchial's subordinate, asks his boss if he knows why he was so surprised. Sang-woo asks Mincchial why he's so surprised by this. Mincchial had requested a 10-day vacation. Sang-woo continued, pointing out Mincchial's reluctance to take holidays before. Now he suddenly wants 10 days off. Sang-woo notes that Mincchial's smiling, something he rarely sees. Mincchial just looks away, trying to brush it off. Mincchial waves goodbye to someone. He tells the person to take care on the way back. He smiles. A car speeds away and Sang-woo asks, shocked, assistant manager Jin. He demands, what do you mean by wife? Mincchial casually says he got married last week, offering to show a photo. Completely bewildered, Sang-woo and his colleague ask, who did what and with whom? The next day, someone overhears and laughs loudly at Mincchial's predicament. The office erupts in congratulatory chaos. Mincchial calmly offers souvenirs from his trip, bemused by the commotion. His colleagues complain about not being invited to the wedding. Mincchial says it was sudden, kept to family. Chief Choi grabs Hanjia's shoulder, demanding that she finish a task today. Someone asks to speak with him. You are a manager, I give up, someone yells. Is Hanjia getting harassed? Sang-woo is grabbed in a headlock by a colleague. Hey Choi Sang-woo, she yells. So Saiyan, Mincchial's boss, is shocked by the office uproar. She's completely lost. The colleague continues to grip Sang-woo in the headlock as a memory surfaces to him. Why did this happen? The confusion persists. Sang-woo thinks, I never thought assistant manager Jin would get married. The colleague lists Mincchial's traits, no drinking, fitness fanatic. He wonders why Jin Mincchial got married anyway. A flashback begins showing Mincchial and Han Saiyan in an intense moment. What is this all about? Apparently Saiyan is a mathematics Olympiad silver medalist. What kind of flashback is this? Back at the office, the gossip continues. The man has 2 children. Back at her desk, Hanjia throws her head down in frustration. Is it that hard to find a good man? The flashback begins with manager So. Someone hands over a document. I've finished it, please check it. Sang-woo smirks, suggesting that finding Mincchial a wife would be easy. Imagining a wedding in May, she's offered 200,000 won as congratulations. A bell rings above a wedding scene as someone thinks 2 kids would be perfect. The scene shatters like glass, showing Hanjia and Mincchial together. She thinks, it's not like he's the only man. Saiyan laughs nervously. Right, there are many other, she struggles to keep up. Someone shouts, oh, assistant manager Jin is here, manager hide. They discuss which is more likely, Mincchial's marriage or the end of the world. Someone peeks out, overhearing them. Saiyan and another colleague discuss whether Mincchial is really married. They decide to check up on him. The colleagues frantically search for Saiyan. Hanjia wonders just what kind of woman did Mincchial marry. Hanjia squats, lighting a cigarette, stressed about finding a good man. A woman with glasses wonders out loud why someone is here, sweat dripping down her face. The chapter ends with a shot of Hanjia holding her black cat Rat. Before the credits, Gia thinks about Mincchial's choice in women. Someone flicks ash from a cigarette nearby. The ash wasn't Gia's. Sang-woo is standing over her. You're here, Gia looks at him, confused by the sudden appearance. Suddenly, Jin Mincchial walks into view and says, I'm home. He seems startled to see the smoking So Saiyan standing outside of his home. Saiyan, caught off guard, asks Mincchial what's wrong. A man hides behind the corner, watching the scene unfold. Saiyan and Sang-woo spy on Mincchial and Gia. Saiyan whispers, curious if they're fighting and why he's so late. Mincchial glances at his phone. I came home right after working out. He says it's only 8:20. Saiyan asks if Mincchial thought she was waiting to eat with him, a bit flustered. Saiyan is pinching Mincchial's forehead, frustrated he didn't tell her he'd be late. The eavesdropper is shocked. Jia questions if she can really call him first. She wonders why he hasn't called. Sangwoo overhears her musings. Sayan asks when Mincchial said that. He answers confused, 5th grade of elementary school. Someone replies to Jia with an uh-huh. The person asks if Jia forgot. The person continues, I thought it was around that time. The person tells her it's okay if she can't remember. They continue to state what they're trying to say. Jia is confused. Sayan feels as though someone is watching them. She wonders why they are being watched. Sangwoo asks Jia if they're okay to call each other for private matters. He's looking at his phone. Sayan wonders why she feels tricked while Sangwoo relaxes. He's glad they weren't caught eavesdropping. Sayan, still smiling, talks about Jin's wife. Sangwoo peeks, thinking he's seen Sayan somewhere before. Mincchial eats a protein shake. Zoo monkeys ate better than this, he thinks. Jia spits and rinses her mouth. Just how the hell did he remember that, she thinks, bewildered. Jia tosses in her bed. She's unable to sleep after remembering that time. Jia's memory flashes back to her and Mincchial splitting a chocolate bar. If I remember correctly, we were so close. The panels show flashbacks of Jia and Mincchial's childhood. They lived in the same neighborhood, went to the same school, and had similar home lives. Jia recalls being teased for being friends with Mincchial. He calls her, asking if she wants to play a game, but she hangs up. Jia remembers they went to the same middle school, Disung Middle School. Jia's memory shifts to middle school. I'm the one who ignored him first. Jia is ashamed of her past behavior and pulls at her hair. Why did I do that? She thinks. Jia is scrolling through her phone. She's shocked to see previous messages with Mincchial. There's no way. She realizes, lying in bed, that their conversation revolved solely around marriage, nothing personal. We really haven't. Jia punches her pillow, regretting her anger. Was I such a heartless person? Should I apologize now? Mincchial looks down at his phone, deep in thought. He sits in his gaming chair and says, Mincchial, still in his gaming chair, stares at his phone, thinking. He decides to send a message. Jia's phone gets a notification. She says, picking up her phone, her eyes widened after seeing the message. The text message is from Mincchial. The picture shows delicious spicy chicken feet Hellfire chicken feet set. Suddenly, Jia shouts and barges into Mincchial's room, confronting him about something. Hey, Jin Mincchial. The next day, Jia asks Mincchial if she can come in, referencing the clause in their contract that deals with complaints. Mincchial looks startled by her arrival. Jia holds up the contract, telling Mincchial they need to talk about something. She asks if there's a problem. White space indicates a transition to a dream. Has Jia fallen asleep? Clause 5 of the contract states they should prioritize conversation if there are complaints. Mincchial stares intensely. She insists they converse based on Clause 5, contract in hand. He smirks. With a clink, Jia holds up a cold beer. Kaya tilde the beer's so cold. Jia's eyes widen slightly as Mincchial questions her. Don't you have something to talk about with me? Mincchial asks if he made a mistake, but Jia says it's about etiquette. Jia is dressed in pajamas, ready to confront Mincchial about his etiquette. Mincchial, puzzled by the sudden etiquette remark, wonders what she's talking about. Jia proceeds to pop open another beer. She questions the sense of having chicken feet without beer. He sighs. Mincchial covers his face, suggesting Jia could just tell him tomorrow. Jia responds, well, there's that too. Jia realizes they've never had a real conversation. Now they're having one over street snacks. Jia smirks, holding up the beer she poured for Mincchial, waiting for him to drink. Mincchial agrees to drink, finally giving in to Jia's persistence. Jia smiles knowingly, happy with the slight win. Mincchial asks why she brought up etiquette. Jia pauses, trying to find the right words to explain why she's annoyed. Mincchial suddenly flexes, bringing up a completely random point. It can cause muscle loss. Jia sighs, thinking she's crazy to want to talk with a gym rat like Mincchial. He wonders if they can forget the issue. Mincchial suddenly slams his hand on the table. We don't have to drink together, go back to your. He trails off, suggesting they need to do something like that from time to time. Mincchial grabs a drink. Jia proposes a toast after the outburst. Mincchial is shocked by the sudden change. Jia smiles, wondering where to start with Mincchial. Birds chirp outside as the alcohol gets poured. Gia wonders what she even wanted to talk about with Mincchial in the first place. She had called him impulsively. Gia raises her glass, suggesting a toast. They clink their glasses together for now. She wonders if this will work. Mincchial downs a glass, admitting he's unsure. Gia suggests they drink first, hoping it'll solve the problem. 2 hours later, empty bottles lie scattered on the table. A loud bwhahahaha echoes. Gia asks if Mincchial's pretending to forget, recalling his grumpiness that day. He claims he doesn't remember. Gia points, accusing Mincchial of pretending not to remember being angry earlier. Mincchial recalls something similar happened before. Gia mutters, "Ah," looking down. She thinks back to when he visited after school. They played games together, fighting and arguing. Gia thinks everything was fun back then, reminiscing on simpler days playing games. An old video game shows continue on the screen. Does Gia choose yes? Mincchial pauses, looking down at a passed-out Gia. "Hey Gia, you're..." Mincchial reaches out, poking Gia's head. She's completely passed out. Is she going to wake up? The loud sound of video game continues. Gia is passed out, drooling. Suddenly an alarm rings. Mincchial suggests Gia go to her room to sleep. He'll clean. Gia apologizes while laughing awkwardly, wondering if she's drunk because it's been a while. Gia wonders if she was always this weak with alcohol. She asks Mincchial to play a game. Gia mumbles about drinking all the alcohol, then demands Mincchial to give me an ear. He asks, confused. Mincchial suddenly takes off Gia's glasses, as she demanded an ear earlier. Mincchial scolds Gia, claiming her eyesight is bad because of playing too many games. He wants his glasses back. Gia shouts that she doesn't want to give them back. She tells him to use force. Gia mocks Mincchial. She wonders if he's afraid of looking silly without glasses. Drunk Gia suddenly exclaims she's always wanted to tell him something. "You look bad in those glasses." Gia yells that he is trying to kidnap her. "Are you an old man?" she shouts. Gia says he got the wrong idea. She won't give the glasses back because he pushed her. Gia pauses, still holding Mincchial's glasses. She's trying to gather her thoughts. And Mincchial is confused, reaching out to fix Gia's collar. It looks like he cares. Mincchial asks Gia to give his glasses back. Will she finally relent? Gia stares down with a soft gaze, holding Rat gently. She continues, her face flushed. She won't return it just because she was pinned against the wall. Mincchial glances up at Gia with a complex look. He seems conflicted. Mincchial leans in close, demanding his glasses back from a surprised Gia. Mincchial hugs Gia tightly, seemingly not wanting to let go. His heart pounds for her. Gia stammers as she removes her glasses. Mincchial demands that she give his glasses back. Gia, in a panic, runs away with Mincchial's glasses. Mincchial is left confused by her sudden action. Mincchial quickly reaches out to stop Gia as she attempts to escape. Gia takes a deep breath, her heart pounding in her chest from the near encounter. Gia clutches her pajama shirt tightly, flustered. What was that just now, she wonders. Mincchial stares intensely, his face still close. Gia is behind the door, questioning what just happened. The next morning, Mincchial ties his shoes and heads out to work. Mincchial wonders to himself, his cheeks flushed and ears red. Now that I look at him well. Gia peeks from behind the door, observing Mincchial with wide eyes. He's just the usual Gia. Mincchial touches the door, dazed. "And nothing," she mutters, still reeling from the event. Gia shouts at herself to snap out of it, and admits it wasn't nothing. Gia is resolute. "Well, it's not like I didn't do anything wrong anyway." She needs to apologize. Gia calls out to Mincchial, but he pauses. About last night?" he questions seriously. Gia stutters to apologize, clenching her fists. She internally screams to say sorry. Gia is lost in thought, uttering "me." Rat tilts his head, looking up at her curiously. She prepares herself, mimicking a cat. Meow, she practices an apology. Gia nervously mimics a cat, hoping her meow apology will suffice for Mincchial. Rat stares curiously. Mincchial hears Gia's strange meow. He's confused, wondering what she's doing while Rat looks curiously. Gia has an epiphany. Realizing her apology attempt was absurd, she facepalms at her recent actions. The "so" text box appears, cutting to Mincchial's office building. What could he be thinking? Back at Mincchial's office, Choi Sangwoo is summarizing the details of this morning. This morning, your wife impersonated a cat, am I correct? In the office, Choi Sangwoo asks if Mincchial is trying to brag about his marriage. Mincchial asks if Choi asked So Saiyan about the previous night's events. Did something happen? Mincchial's subordinate insists only he can discuss such topics with him. Was that just aegyo or a joke? Ignoring Mincchial's confused face, Choi Sangwoo insists he is the right person. I'm a professor of romance studies. Mincchial combs his hair neatly, preparing to face the new work day after the cat incident. Mincchial realizes the solution to Jia's cat-like behavior might be simpler than it seems. Choi Sangwoo with a sly grin says F for now. Mincchial is sweating after his confession. After work. Mincchial arrives at the door. Jia greets him with a warm smile. I'm home. Jia smiles sweetly, calling out Jia. Mincchial stands outside, looking up with a surprised expression. Mincchial lectures Choi Sangwoo. When talking to women, the most important thing is sympathy. Mincchial recalls advice from Choi. When unsure, just follow what Jia does. Mincchial stands outside, bracing himself, clenching his fist to prepare for Jia. Suddenly, Jia imagines herself happily meowing at Mincchial in the morning. How cute. Suddenly, the scene shifts to a dramatic title card, declaring Here lies Hanjia, 32, jobless. The title proclaims Jia's cause of death, embarrassment. Mincchial awkwardly thinks to himself that this situation is weird. Jia suddenly remembers Choi's advice. Hey, Jin Minchol, she's determined to act naturally. Jia pulls Mincchial's hair, demanding to know why he discussed their morning with others. That's how the cat incident between Mincchial and Jia led to a contract. Mincchial starts writing a new rule, to keep their incident a secret. Mincchial demands what Jia meant by the meow. Jia signs the contract sheepishly. A few days after the start of an eventful newlywed life, a slap. Choi says that's a good idea. He's peeking from behind Mincchial's desk, eavesdropping as Mincchial agrees. Jia looks down determined, muttering, let's do it. She steels herself. Jia smiles widely, suggesting, let's throw a housewarming party. She seems excited. Jia happily suggests a housewarming party holding Rat. Mincchial looks surprised. Jia, surprised and confused, takes a huge gulp of her orange juice. Why is he here? Jin Mincchial explains he was congratulated on his marriage at work. They suddenly suggested a housewarming party. Mincchial assures Jia that his company isn't pushy, and he'll let her know. He tells her not to worry, encouraging her to share her thoughts. Jia agrees and Mincchial looks confused. Mincchial states that he meant it when he said they weren't forcing it. He then leans in, asking why. Jia leans back on the couch thinking, well, no reason, she responds. The comic explains the custom of hosting a housewarming party after moving or getting married, inviting people for good fortune. The comic explains there's a lot to prepare from the host's point of view. Jia sighs, regretting her agreement. Jia internally exclaims she hates Jin Mincchial. Mincchial asks if she'll really do it. Jia clenches her fist, thinking he's making fun of her past mistake. Haha, look at his troubled face, she scoffs. Mincchial questions Jia, assuming she's acting this way because she doesn't want to host the party. He suggests that she should just tell them she doesn't want to. Jia waves goodbye with a cheerful smile. Well, that's a bit, she thinks. Jin Mincchial suddenly chuckles to himself. Jia looks at him, confused by his change in demeanor. Mincchial has a satisfied smile on his face. Mincchial states that he'll be going now, and Jia is surprised by his sudden exit. What was all of that about? Jia thinks to herself why Mincchial looks so happy. He is being forced, right? Switching back to Jia's point of view, we see her journal, Hanjia's observation journal of Jin Mincchial. The comic explains that Jin Mincchial is surprisingly weak to requests. Whoa, she exclaims. Jia wonders, wife. She contemplates how Mincchial addresses her when speaking to others. Jia wonders what it means when Mincchial says wife when talking about her. Hanjia throws her hair up in a bun. Ah, whatever, she declares. 2 hours later, Jia regrets agreeing to the housewarming party. Her mom is asking for too many ingredients. Gia is overwhelmed by her mom's scolding and the pressure cooker explosion. The day of the housewarming party has finally arrived. Guests are now arriving. Gia welcomes the arriving guests with a warm smile. "Welcome," she says. Some of the guests look concerned for her. Flashback to a conversation with Jin Mincchial. Gia is warned she better be treated well. The guests gasp in awe at the magnificent spread of food before them. "Woo!" they exclaim. The guests compliment the food, praising Gia's cooking skills. Someone jokingly asks if Jin eats like this every day. Switching to a flashback, we see Mincchial and his coworker. He states it's also his first time. The coworker says, "Oh my, don't mention it." The coworkers look as Mincchial chugs a drink. "Oh, Jin's drinking alcohol." Gia is whispered, "So are you satisfied now?" Mincchial's coworkers judge the fake couple. Mincchial's coworkers whisper, pointing out the lack of wedding rings. Jin Mincchial clears his throat, telling his coworkers to stop judging Hanjia. Choi Sang-woo introduces himself as the company's cutie pie and mascot. Mincchial asked everyone to write down questions about him before coming. He exclaims over the responses on his tablet. Mincchial tells his coworkers to hold back with the questions for Hanjia. Mincchial, holding his tablet, sees his coworker's question. Now the first one, a request from Manager So-Saiyan. Manager So-Saiyan is questioning, "When did you two kiss?" Mincchial panics. Hanjia has an evil smile as she thinks to herself, "H-A-H-A-H-A-H-A-H-A." Mincchial announces the first request from Manager So-Saiyan. It's to kiss. A message from the Scanlators says that their Discord server was sabotaged. Mincchial smirks as he reads a request from his manager, So-Saiyan. It seems like he's being summoned again. Mincchial gets ready for another visit while Sang-woo looks angry. Gia looks dejected. Gia gets kissed unexpectedly. She is probably not very happy about this. Gia's surprise turns into laughter. What could be so funny after that? As Gia recovers, Mincchial reads the tablet. "The two of you have to kiss." Mincchial scrolls through the document, then snaps his fingers in realization. He exclaims, "Ah." Mincchial bursts into laughter after dropping the bomb. Gia looks at him in shock. Mincchial pokes Gia's hand lightly, gaining her attention. Gia asks, clearly confused by the sudden skinship. "Why?" she questions. Mincchial leans in to whisper, "Are you okay?" Gia is still confused. "What do you mean?" Mincchial whispers to Gia, saying the atmosphere is weird. He thinks they'll ask about private matters. Gia smirks, finding his question amusing. She asks Mincchial, "Yeah, so?" Gia suggests that they act like a happy married couple. She wants to avoid future problems by answering strategically. Gia replies okay calmly, agreeing to go along with Mincchial's suggestion. At the top of the screen, a new temporary rule is revealed. Mincchial reads a very private question. The next question appears. Can you share the details about your marriage proposal? Mincchial announces countdown time. Gia wonders if a proposal ever happened. She needs a drink. Mincchial is shocked, remembering the proposal. Gia is shown with beer. The team is shocked. One of them asks Gia to confirm the proposal story. Gia stutters, lost for words. The memory replays in Gia's head. Mincchial was eating chicken breast. Gia avoids answering, taking the punishment by chugging her beer. The team applauses their acting skills. Saiyan warns Mincchial that they'll talk about this later. Mincchial proceeds with the next question. The latest question is revealed. When and where did you have your first kiss? Gia wonders if they had to answer was their first kiss at the wedding. She was determined not to kiss. Gia is serious. She tells Mincchial she'll kill him if he makes it real. Gia thinks saying their first kiss was at the wedding would be strange. She decides to pass again. Mincchial starts the countdown, holding up 2 fingers. Gia is in trouble. Panicked, Gia chugs the beer. Mincchial awkwardly says, "When we were 5, at the daycare." Gia shouts, denying the kiss ever happened. She suddenly remembers Mincchial's answer, the daycare. The private question is Mincchial's nickname. He asks, "Have you forgotten? It was Kissing Ghost." The flashback shows Mincchial kissing others as a child. Gia remarks about his nickname. One of the team members exclaims, confused, about Mincchial's Kissing Ghost story. The team thanks Jia and Mincchial. They tell them to be careful on their way home. Mincchial reads the tablet. The next question is from manager Sosayan. Mincchial reads another private question. Jia looks defeated, already dreading the next reveal. Sosayan drags Mincchial. She demands he come with her. Mincchial yells, "Ouch, wait." A nearby teammate comments about Sayan dragging Mincchial away. What flexible. The scene changes. Jia has changed into something more casual for sleep. A silent but tense scene, a feeling of unease hangs in the air. Back at Jia's apartment, Mincchial seems to reflect. I think you're right. Jia sits in the car, still in shock, and says, "You're right, Manager So." Manager So is driving and deep in thought, wondering about Jia and Mincchial. Mincchial, riding with So Sayan, wonders to himself, should I investigate it a little bit more? Jia says, never mind that. She understands now that she needs to proceed cautiously. Mincchial, still with Sayan, cheerfully says he'll set Jia up with someone. The car speeds off. Jia mutters, "And never mind," questioning her previous decision. Jia is furious that Sayan suddenly hit the brakes. She asks if Mincchial's giving up. Jia, seemingly remembering, asks in realization, "Oh, I did." The narration muses, "I knew it right away after I saw them. What does this mean?" Jia in the car thinks it's not a place for someone like her. Jia thinks it's all over since she confirmed something herself. Sangwoo is praised. Jia grips the steering wheel tightly, exclaiming, really?" She's clearly frustrated. Frustrated, Jia questions why So Sayan suddenly made a U-turn. Sayan replies, "I suddenly wanted to have." Jia is riding in the passenger seat. She thinks, a drink. She asks So Sayan if she has time, complaining that everyone was drinking. Mincchial begs Sayan, "Manager, please do me a favor." What could it be? Jia asks if this is a treat. Mincchial says she can call it that. He asks if she wants food. Jia recalls eating expensive Korean beef. She is confused by So Sayan's question. Jia questions if Sayan is crossing the line with the two blues. Sayan is unfazed by this comment. Sayan agrees, saying to order Yuko too. Jia desperately pleads, "Please don't be like that." The small commotion surrounding Jia and Mincchial, unknown to them, ended quietly. Back in bed, Mincchial lies awake, disturbed by the series of events. Jia suddenly wakes up in bed, panicked. She exclaims, "No." Mincchial wakes up confused. The housewarming party ended. It's Saturday, 11 am, and Mincchial is nervously waiting inside Jia's apartment. Jia grills Mincchial, wanting him to confess his mistakes. She brings up embarrassing memories to catch him off guard. Jia is frustrated that Mincchial can't understand. She shouts because it obviously didn't make any sense. Jia continues to vent her frustrations. She realizes that she had been thinking about what others might think. Jia tries to calm herself, reminding herself, "It's Jin Mincchial you're talking to." Jia is shocked that Mincchial bought 7 of the same outfit. She screams, "Stop, he's a crazy guy." Jia wonders how Mincchial can eat sweets to be healthy. "Rat Dad's being scolded," he says, then asks the cat to play. Jia says they're prohibited from telling people about their kindergarten kiss. Mincchial is confused. Mincchial asks what they should say if someone asks about their first kiss. Jia thinks it's weird if a married couple hasn't kissed. She wonders. She recalls memories of the wedding and the story they made up. "My first kiss with Jin Mincchial," she thinks. Jia contemplates, wait, isn't it supposed to be dating first then kiss? Suddenly Jia gets a text and is stunned. "Mom," she mutters in disbelief. A video call connects, showing Jia's parents. "Our daughter, have you been well?" her mom asks. Mincchial nervously greets Jia's mom on the phone. Jia asks her mom what's going on with the sudden video call. The video shows Jia and Mincchial at a movie theater. "What are you trying to show off?" Jia's mom asks. Jia's mom then asks about a film showing Jia and Mincchial. "It's Spaghetti Man." Jia is in disbelief. Her mother continues, "We came to the theater early." Jia's mom cheerfully says she watched Spaghetti Man with Jia's dad. The video call abruptly ends. Jia is left speechless and confused. Jia calls out, "Hey Jin Mincchial, get ready, we're going out." For those who couldn't follow, this is a family penalty. Mincchial asks where they're going. Jia replies, "Movie theater." Gia then reveals a major spoiler of Spaghetti Man. The crippled man is a ghost. Gia thinks I'll give unnice spoilers as soon as I finish watching. She hates spoilers. They arrived at the movie theater after a speedy taxi ride. Hee hee, this is great, Gia thinks, holding popcorn. There in the theater, Should've thinks it's not the center seat but it's enough. Gia asks why Mincchial looks like that. Don't you like Spaghetti Man, she questions. You should have told me. Gia's face fills with realization as she thinks, but this somewhat looks like a date. Gia thinks about the video call with her parents. Is this also a date? Someone yells at Gia and Mincchial in the theater for talking loudly. Gia says, ah, really? Gia wonders why did Mincchial suddenly bring up that topic. She thinks of Spaghetti Man with great power. Gia is flustered by the date-like atmosphere. This is insane, it's really good, she thinks, covering her face. She wonders what to do. Gia crushes a handful of popcorn, lost in thought. She wonders if she's starting to enjoy this penalty. Mincchial's face is flushed. All the date-like events are making him crazy. Gia covers her face in embarrassment. The screen fades to black, the end. The movie ends and Gia sobs. She can't believe how it ended. Gia covers her face, crying. It's really the best, I can't describe it. Gia wonders how Mincchial is reacting. Number 1 rule, keep an eye on the person. Mincchial clenches his fist, tears streaming down his face. I have no regrets in my life, he proclaims, a Spaghetti Man otaku for over 20 years. Gia smiles, thinking it feels good seeing Mincchial enjoying the movie so much. Gia is excited and can't believe the movie. She asks if Mincchial's glad they watched it together. Gia recalls a specific scene from the Spaghetti Man movie she watched. She remembers leaving quickly to avoid spoilers. Gia wonders how this movie date happened so naturally. It feels like a real date. Gia thinks, after all, it's my first time doing this with Jin Mincchial. Someone pushes through the crowd. Let me through, please, they shout. Gia looks at Mincchial. She notices a tear rolling down his cheek and she's a little moved. Gia's expression changes, her eyes widening slightly. She seems confused. Gia is shocked, looking down at Mincchial. She says, huh. Gia and Mincchial ride the escalator amidst other moviegoers, heading to the exit. As they descend the escalator, Gia is suddenly pulled into a back hug by Mincchial. What's happening? It's happening, Mincchial pulls Gia into a back hug and steals a kiss. Huh. At the airport, Mincchial is suddenly embraced from behind. A woman is giving him a very warm welcome. Mincchial is startled by the sudden hug, his face flushed. Huh, he wonders who this could be. But wait, the embrace turns into a full-blown kiss as the crowd walks by. The panel flashes back. I can still remember that first kiss so vividly. That first kiss I accidentally had, slightly tasted like caramel, she recalls. In the present, a young child points at them, telling his mom to look. Startled by the sudden kiss, Gia's eyes widen as she hears a child's voice nearby. Puha, those two are pig-affronting. Mincchial looks down, absolutely bewildered, as Gia grabs his jacket with a wide smile. Gia, still in Mincchial's arms, asks him to put her down now, a little flustered. Why yeah, Mincchial replies. Suddenly Gia breaks away from Mincchial and starts running. Mincchial is left bewildered and yells, ha. Mincchial yells, see, cancel. Confused and flustered, Gia yells after him, I cancel what happened just now. Mincchial looks confused. Gia then states that she is using the 3-second rule from elementary school. Gia thinks to herself that even food fallen on the ground is safe with the 3-second rule. Mincchial yells her name. Mincchial hides his face as he remembers Gia is a smoker. Gia sits down, covering her face in embarrassment. I screwed up big time now. Gia internally debates the logic of the 3-second rule, while Mincchial questions if he's dealing with a child. Gia throws the cigarette into the ashtray. What do I do now? She wonders. How will she face Mincchial? Mincchial says, hey Hanjia, just as I thought, you left to smoke. He then grabs her to remove the smell. Mincchial is surprised and thinks that all of this is too unexpected. Gia calls out, hey Jin Mincchial. Gia wonders if it is really okay to use the 3-second rule in this situation. Mincchial nervously agrees. Mincchial asks about the meal. Should they eat there or go straight home? Gia says he can choose whatever he likes. Gia unwraps her Italian BLT Jr., included with cookies and a drink. What's with this situation, she thinks. Gia wonders why Mincchial looks so unbothered. When I said forget it. Gia is surprised that Mincchial is still eating chicken breast after all that happened. Gia breathes out, nervously trying to calm herself down. Mincchial is checking his phone beside her. The panel zooms in on the kiss and then Mincchial's surprised expression. Is this going to be awkward? Gia worries that she's overthinking the situation. Well, I guess I'm the one being too fussy, aren't I? The narration describes their accidental lip contact, watching a movie together and being married. Gia internally thought that Mincchial would at least be flustered by the kiss. Somehow. A discarded cigarette flickers out as Gia trails behind Mincchial. It's kind of a bummer. Gia looks off to the side as Mincchial adjusts his glasses. I gotta say something about earlier. The panel shows Mincchial taking off his glasses, thinking the kiss lasted longer than 3 seconds. Mincchial internally corrects Gia, recalling the kiss lasting about 5 seconds. Gia's heart races as Mincchial suggests making this their first kiss. What will she do? Mincchial brings up their conversation from this morning about the first kiss. He wants to reenact that. The reason Gia is running is because she's 32 and ran away after a month of marriage. Mincchial's head is reeling, he just can't believe what is happening right now. We see Mincchial's back with a red handprint. What exactly did I do wrong? The scene shifts to Gia's family. Gia's sister introduces Mincchial as her brother-in-law Jimin. A woman with a suitcase approaches Mincchial's family. I'll be in your favor. Time for some recommendations. Today we have 2 action-packed manhwas. Frey and Shindorim are revenge-based and full of action. Please join our Discord server, it helps to boost our morale. Gia finishes telling the story. The child peeks from behind Gia's skirt, greeting Mincchial as brother-in-law Jimin. A blonde woman with a suitcase happily says, I'll be in your favor. Her suitcase rolls behind her as she waves goodbye, seeming to rethink what she said to them. The blonde woman seems to realize what she just said, making a stop in her walk. So, she yells, look here, before starting the 13,261st Gia Summit. Clicking her mouse, the woman begins the summit by stating the meeting's purpose. The summit continues with the woman pointing to an accident that happened 5 hours ago. Gia is calculating a plan in her head to get out of this. The woman clicks her mouse as Mincchial suggests a scene for their first kiss. Gia slams her fists on the desk, enraged at Mincchial's suggestion. Look at this, isn't this crazy? The Gia summit continues, she remembers a childhood encounter. Is your candy tasty? To avoid Mincchial, Gia decided to stay at Jimin's place for the time being. The various Gias wonder why she would stay at her sister's. Doesn't she have friends? Gia wonders if her current self can relate to her younger self, but many things happened. Gia remembers a story from kindergarten. She smiles slightly, remembering a distant memory. The woman happily reminisces, I was the one who made those 2 become a couple. Younger Gia reveals she set up her sister and brother-in-law on a blind date. Jimin arrives with a gift for Gia and Mincchial. Mincchial declines politely, but Jimin insists on giving it. On a precious weekend, Jimin asks why they're here without notice. Gia retorts with a snarky remark. The kids play roughly with Mincchial as Jimin watches them. She wonders who they take after. Jimin reminisces on their childhood, sure Gia's kids would be extra. Gia can only imagine, thinking it's terrifying. Gia questions what Jimin means. My mom's youngest daughter, whatever the reason, let me say something first. Jimin is curious if Gia knows of Spaghetti Man, which recently came out. Jimin wonders if something happened with Mincchial. Gia is silent and grits her teeth in response. Gia avoids the question, laughing it off while quickly cleaning. Jimin sighs, mentioning Gia has a bad habit, drinking her tea. Gia knows she ran away because she was mad at Mincchial. She sighs. Gia admits she just wanted to see her sister and her kids. Jimin acts moved by Gia's concern for them. Jimin smiles, thinking it's perfect timing for her plan. A woman and child stand at the door. Jimin assures Gia that everything will be all right, as she and Mincchial leave. Jimin proclaims her love for Jia, clearly aware of the situation. Jia's plan has been seen through. Jia thinks she can stay here comfortably in exchange for babysitting the kids. Hanjia is revealed to be 32 years old as she imagines her children drawing on her face. Yeehaw, yeehaw. Jia finally understands the exhaustion of parenting. She lays on the ground, crayons all around her. The kid says horses go neigh, asking Jia to make the sound too. Jia, ridden like a horse, thinks it's still too much. The doorbell rings. Jia thinks she's saved. Jimin states she will be back. Jia's face is covered in crayon. She is shocked that someone is at the door. Behind the partially opened door, Jia wonders who could possibly be there. A man in a jacket stands behind the partially opened door. It's a delivery. The delivery man stands at the door, his face not visible behind the door's opening. Jia's face is covered in crayon. She asks herself, Jin Mincchial. Mincchial asks Jia, while knocking. Jia, still covered in crayon, is shocked to see him. What brings Mincchial here? This is just the end slate with the comic recommendations, Frey and Shindaram, both action manhwa series. The chapter ends with the scanlation team's credits and donation information. Mincchial, in his usual attire, stands before Jia's door announcing he is here for a delivery, but nobody expects the door will explode. Dust settles as Jia screams Mincchial's name. Mincchial, on the other side, worriedly calls out to Jia. A dazed Jia is hit with the sound and asks herself what Mincchial is doing here. Jia is in shock and dizzy, spirals cloud her eyes with red cheeks. She wonders how Mincchial knew she was here and if he put a tracking device on her. Suddenly, a voice calls out, Auntie. The little girl asks if it's Mincchial, saying he's kind of weird. She even compares him to the boogeyman. Jia is confused. A little girl is on the phone, repeating her mom's instructions to open the door for Uncle. In a flashback, Jia's sister affectionately calls her Han Jimin. A baby is being fed while someone is watching blindfolded. A flashback shows Jia with Mincchial. She asks him if what they are eating is tasty. Mincchial calmly replies that he has a question for her as well. Jia wonders how he knew she was here. Mincchial reveals that Jia's sister-in-law called and told him to bring her back. Jia is shocked and yells out, Han Jimin. A flashback reveals Jia's sister thinking Jia is innocent when their parents fight. Two kids wonder how long this will last. Tears well in her eyes as she thinks to herself, but still. Jia confronts Mincchial, calling him stupid for coming when she was avoiding him. Mincchial is confused and wonders what's happening. Mincchial wonders if Jia is slow-witted. The text Clause 5, prioritize making conversation, appears on the screen. Mincchial asks if Jia is angry. He wants to know why she's mad. Jia wonders what she was avoiding him for. She recalls that kiss. Jia remembers the kiss. It was more than 3 seconds. Mincchial's timing was too perfect. Jia is flustered, remembering the kiss. My heart was beating so much, but then. Jia recalls Mincchial's words about manufacturing their first kiss. She remembers how elegantly he had wrapped his words. She winces, clutching her head. Jia thinks, why the hell did my heart flutter due to him? Mincchial is frustrated and calls Mincchial's face annoying. She didn't expect to feel anything. Auntie. Jia in the past is eating something. She finds it tasty. Mincchial asks from behind. The little girl offers ice cream, saying sweets cure anger. It relieved your anger, right? The little girl offers Mincchial some ice cream, but he declines, saying he doesn't really like mint chocolate. Jia feels embarrassed. Jia in the past feeds a small child. She worries he'll get a stomach ache if he eats too much. Jia calms herself, saying it was just a kiss. Then the little girl asks Mincchial for ice cream. The parents thank Mincchial for his help. A child waves goodbye as Mincchial bows in response. Jia and Mincchial walk away from the scene. The sound of luggage wheels echoes. I'm going crazy. Jia laments that if she knew this would happen, she wouldn't have left. Mincchial looks at Jia with serious eyes, thinking he should have said what he had to say first. Mincchial gazes at Jia and says, remember what I said earlier about our contract. Mincchial apologizes for being insensitive at the movie theater. Jia listens silently, her expression unreadable. She reflects on Mincchial, suggesting to make it our first kiss scenario. He asks if she's mad because of their kiss, ending the question with, "Am I wrong?" Gia thinks she also played a part. Mincchial asks if she thought he apologized because she was mad. Mincchial is reminded of her childhood habit. He asks if she still apologizes for everything and then asks if he's being punished. Gia smiles mischievously, reminiscing about their childhood. It's forehead flick time. Gia tells Mincchial to come for a forehead flick. He's hesitant, saying her flicks hurt badly. Gia agrees to the forehead flick, since she asked for an explanation first. She recalls their first kiss scenario conversation. They accidentally kissed for real at the movie theater. Mincchial is taken aback as Gia declares she never wants a mistake as their first kiss. A flashback of Gia, someone's hands are on her cheeks, so I'll set it up now. Gia reflects, her eyes closing. She anticipates Mincchial's response to her challenge. Gia cups Mincchial's face, preparing for their first kiss. He looks nervous under her gaze. Mincchial nervously adjusts his glasses, sweat trickling down his face as Gia's voice echoes in his mind. Listen well, Jin Mincchial. Gia leans in, determination in her eyes, declaring, "This is our first kiss." Gia's eyes narrow suspiciously while Rat, her cat, snuggles against her chest. So Mincchial smirks, holding a cigarette. Sangwoo then smiles slyly, his glasses glinting in the light. To summarize everything, what Gia said that day was a mistake. It happened in front of her sister-in-law's house. Gia suddenly grabs Mincchial by the face and plants a surprise kiss. Mincchial leans in close, pointing out the mistake and its consequences. Everyone knows about their kindergarten history. Mincchial, ever the playful tease, asks if Sangwoo is truly worried about it. Mincchial recoils dramatically, his face contorted in shock. "Thing," he exclaims loudly. Mincchial loudly complains, saying he was too tired from Gia's housewarming party. Sangwoo raises questions, suspicious. Mincchial stammers, trying to backtrack, but Sangwoo's suspicion only grows. "Oh, manager, so," he exclaims. Sangwoo winces, realizing he might have stepped over the line with his interrogation. Sayin watches, about to buy a drink. Gia smirks, pleased with Mincchial's flustered reaction. He covers his face, completely embarrassed by the implications. In her head, Gia visualizes Sayin, with hearts surrounding her head, giddy with glee. A clanging sound echoes as someone runs nearby. Sangwoo is still confused by the conversation. Suddenly, Sangwoo asks if he did something wrong. Sayin tells him to be quiet. Everyone stares as Choi Sangwoo, ID card displayed, says he should introduce himself today. Choi Sangwoo, beaming proudly with his ID tag, confirms he is 29 years old. A red X is shown over Sangwoo's picture, crossing out his self-proclaimed professor of romance title. That most of these are lies. The scene flashes back to a baby, wrapped in a blanket, cutely babbling. It's revealed he has 3 older sisters. Mincchial calmly asks Gia if she feels that way too, unfazed by her earlier outburst. His sisters await their turn. The scene cuts to a flashback of Sangwoo in his younger days wearing a taekwondo uniform. "She likes you." Misunderstandings pile up as Sangwoo processes everyone's reactions to his statements. Sangwoo proudly poses as the god of dating and matchmaker of 20 couples, but he's never had a proper relationship. He may claim inexperience with dating, but it seems like there's more. He's sweating. The scene changes and Gia and Mincchial are in bed, surrounded by warning tape. What's going on? He thinks about what he should do next. How did things end up like this? Sangwoo mutters his own name, confused, as if trying to understand the situation. As Sangwoo grapples with his confusion, Sayin says what she's thinking. Gia, covered with a blanket, says sorry as she recalls their awkward situation. Sangwoo is shown with a concerned look. Actually, their first encounter was at a computer engineering training camp. Freshmen. The scene flashes back to Sangwoo and Sayin in college, 10 years prior. The flashback shows a woman pointing and yelling, "Hey, you." The woman yells at Sangwoo for watching others work. He stutters, apologizing as he carries a case of drinks. But what is he so scared of? 4 years of age difference means nothing to him. Sayin asks Sangwoo what he's doing as his meal gets cold. He nervously replies, "It's nothing." The scene shifts back to the past. Gia says she'll pour the radish kimchi soup in. Mincchial thinks it's a bit much. But Sayin breathes a sigh of relief after overhearing that conversation. What will happen next? Sayin stands in front of the elevator, internally fuming and looking back at the approaching Sangwoo. Someone asks what was it? Another person says sorry, looking sheepish. Wrapped in blankets, Jia wonders, what did Manager So's words mean back then? He doesn't know what it means, but Sangwoo won't forget that day. He knows he hasn't grown up. It happened just as Sayin thought. She sees the two of them together. She feels a heavy wave of emotion. Suddenly, it's revealed that it's also Sayin's first time. Same goes for Manager So. Sayin and Sangwoo are in an elevator, silent and awkwardly apart from each other. Sangwoo slams his hand against the wall, overwhelmed by all this romantic tension. He doesn't know what to do. Sayin angrily yells Manager. As she catches Jia and Mincchial together again, Sayin is furious. Sayin walks away from the elevator, her back towards Sangwoo. What will she do? Hanjia looks down with a tired face. Her cat Rat rests on her. Suddenly, a hand slams against the wall next to Jia. Mincchial yells out, Manager. Jia turns, surprised by the sudden yell. What's going on, she wonders. The elevator arrives on the 8th floor with a ding. Mincchial gulps nervously. The elevator doors open, revealing Choi Sangwoo. Jia is surprised, asking, is there something wrong, Chief Choi? Choi Sangwoo stutters, blushing furiously. It's nothing, Manager, it's nothing much. Sangwoo is flustered, face red. He's trying to say something important. Another man interrupts the tense scene, saying, excuse me, who is he, why is he here? The mysterious man smirks as he exits the elevator. Jia narrows her eyes, what's going on here? Behind them, a delivery man struggles with a large box. What's inside? Mincchial imagines no longer worrying about the marriage. He thinks it would be the best day ever. After the awkwardness in the elevator, Mincchial starts to panic. Where did she go? Choi Sangwoo is in a mental breakdown. Would it have been better if I said nothing? Someone asks Mincchial if something is wrong. Mincchial thinks, I am Jin. He is holding a red ginseng stick. Mincchial is deep in thought, realizing he might have misjudged Jia. Wait. Mincchial continues to eat the ginseng stick. I am married, practically, not theoretically. He turns to Mincchial's coworker, who asks awkwardly, there are times you fight with your wife, right? Mincchial starts to sweat, wondering if Jia is hiding something from him. He stutters. The flashback shows the additional contract from the housewarming party. It seems important. Mincchial has an epiphany. Oh, my wife kissed me first to release the tension. Mincchial is shocked at his own realization, uttering huh. He finally understands what's going on and shouts, long live I am Jin. He realizes, if it were anyone else's problem, I could solve it. He ponders, a problem like this is Jajun Nuna's specialty. Should he ask her for dating advice? The mysterious man stands outside the building. Whatever, he says. Jia's phone rings, cutting through the tension. Oh, Tilda, she answers, curious about the call. Choi Yeonju is on the phone. What's the occasion? You never call first. We learn Yeonju is a well-known romance novelist and internet celebrity. Her representative work is called When the Farewell Passes By. Yeonju is on the phone, inquiring about the situation. It's kinda like that. Yeonju, the youngest sister, says that she'll make something clear to Sangwoo. At the cafe, Yeonju orders drinks. That friend of yours, she starts, probing for information about Sangwoo. Yeonju gets a notification. Oh, he ran away, she comments, amusement dancing in her eyes. Yeonju calls someone. Oppa, are you home? She asks. Flustered, Sangwoo quickly heads out of the building. He needs to escape from this awkward situation. Sangwoo ducks his head with a stressed face. Is he being followed? As Yeonju wonders about who she can consult, she remembers her brother Sangwoo. Yeonju bumps into Sangwoo outside the building. We met not long ago, right? Sangwoo walks to his car, saying his goodbyes. Jia thinks to herself, this is weird. The mysterious man contemplates, wondering, why does she seem so familiar? I've felt this before too. Someone opens a picture from her past. She thinks that Jia has changed a lot since then. The mysterious man takes a swig of water. Are you perhaps? He starts to piece things together. Jia is asked about the burning chicken feet by someone she least expected. Hanjia snuggles with Rat, her cat, in what appears to be her home. Mincchial is heard saying, "Ah, are you perhaps the burning chicken feet?" Hanjia's eyes widen as she sees Mincchial pulling up in a pink car. Hanjia stands frozen. Mincchial walks towards her wearing a long coat. Hanjia is confused. Another man appears, introducing himself as Yeonju's younger brother Sangwoo. The woman holds up a bucket of mint chocolate ice cream, asking if they remember her. Jia's stressed, clutching her hair and sweating. "No, I'm not though." Jia denies knowing what he's talking about. Mincchial's hurt, did they boast? Mincchial denies being the kind of person she's imagining and suggests a food cart for cravings. The face of a woman flashes. She complained about becoming a secretary. Her pen name Burning Chicken Feet echoes, and Jia's heart pounds in her chest. Mincchial is sure Jia gave him a sign. Jia screams out loud, shocked. Jia remembers wanting a prestigious school, but it did not match her aptitude. Jia reflects that gossiping about relationships made her college days annoying. Jia holds up a novel, unimpressed. Novels these days are boring, she thought when she had nothing to do. Jia recalls being a 22-year-old college student who loved to read novels. Jia sees a flashback of Choi Yeonju at 22, a college student. I find it interesting though. Back in college, Jia's friend Yeonju found Jia's preference for easy-to-digest material worthy. As Yeonju's hands grasp Jia's shoulders, Yeonju asks, "What in the world, writing again?" Yeonju teases Jia, calling her our future writer. Jia is embarrassed. Don't call me writer." Jia sobs at her desk, tears streaming as she angrily types, "Choi Yeonju, you crazy." The younger Jia's friend is blown away. "This is too good, amazing." Another memory resurfaces. Yeonju's saying it should be acknowledged in a competition. Jia wonders if it's that good. The younger Jia wonders what Yeonju's talking about and thinks about writing again. A sudden realization hits Jia as she asks herself, "Up to you." Jia's presented an award by colleagues as flashes of cameras go off. Yeonju debuted later. The clapping of the crowd roars as Jia remembers Yeonju's encouragement. "That's how we became writers." Jia remembers Yeonju asking if she'd really use that as her pen name. Back in the present, Jia slurps nervously on a drink. Mincchial is watching her every move. Jia, irritated, tells him to call her by her name, not Chicken Feet Nuna. Sangwoo, surprised by their marriage, asks how they ended up together. Mincchial wonders how she doesn't know the answer. Sayan suddenly confronts Sangwoo and Jia about a night spent together. "Let's get things settled." Sayan thinks that Jia's actions are wrong. Sangwoo says that he just wants to consult with her. The men mention an old saying. Jia sighs, realizing they're right, annoyed. Jia clarifies that she wants advice on Sayan, not help for herself. Jia asks Sangwoo if he needs someone to talk about things. He responds, confused. Jia asks if he needs someone to encourage him. Sangwoo seems confused by her sudden concern. Sangwoo is confused by Jia's comments about needing encouragement. Jia takes a drink and reflects. Sangwoo reflects on Jia and Yeonju. He wonders if writers have bad empathy. Sweat trickles down Sangwoo's face as he says he is grateful now knowing what to do. A phone rings. Lying in bed, Jia wonders, her phone rings with an incoming call. The phone rings. Jia is surprised to see it's Chief Choi Sangwoo calling her. As the phone rings, Yeonju's brother asks, "Manager, can I talk to you?" Jia nervously agrees on the phone. She wonders why Sangwoo is calling so late. Jia panics, questioning if Chief Choi is drunk. He says he wants to get a drink. Sangwoo is on the phone, seemingly disappointed. "Thought so, it's a shame." Sangwoo in a pink car urgently asks Jia if he can come over now. Sangwoo stands confidently, dressed to impress, ready to face Hanjia. Jia pets Rat, lost in thought. Something is definitely bothering her. Jia answers the call a little disappointed. "Thought so, manager." Mincchial is on the phone with Jia, standing next to his pink car. "Can I come and see you right now?" Jia is confused by Mincchial's sudden request to meet. He says, "It's not difficult, I'm already in front of your house." Mincchial tells Gia it will take no more than 20 minutes. He says some things shouldn't be discussed over the phone. Gia looks around her messy room, noticing the broken lamp. She panics, realizing she's not ready to go out. Gia tries to play it cool on the phone, why you know, so. Gia sighs in frustration. She is clearly not ready to face Mincchial. Over the phone, Mincchial corrects himself, saying he'll wait 30 minutes. See you later then. Mincchial waits, stomping his feet nervously while awaiting Gia's arrival. While he waits for Saiyan, Sangwoo recalls a line from a novel. A drawing of a fox on a planet looms above them. When I was young, I always wondered what that meant. Saiyan calls out to Chief Choi, standing on the staircase in front of him. Saiyan has been standing in the same spot for a long time. Did you wait for too long? Sangwoo smiles, quoting a phrase, so what do you want to talk about? Sangwoo nervously asks Saiyan to go somewhere they can sit and talk. She simply replies, right. Sangwoo is confused by her response. Saiyan is lost in thought, rather than a playground. Sangwoo insists they stay where they are, just the two of them. It's a long-time thing. Saiyan and Sangwoo are sitting on the swing, lost in their thoughts. Sangwoo, flustered, struggles to articulate what he wants to discuss. Saiyan's calm about that leaves him even more uneasy. Saiyan suddenly remembers the reason she's there. It's this, she exclaims. Saiyan's face lights up as Sangwoo hands her a snack. She knows this place and will eat it well. Sangwoo laughs confidently, declaring that Saiyan doesn't need to thank him for the snack. Sangwoo and Saiyan laugh together. Sangwoo's inner thoughts reveal his self-disappointment. This is not it, Choi Sangwoo. A memory surfaces. Someone accuses Sangwoo of manipulating Saiyan with the snack. Saiyan sits on the swing teary-eyed. Sangwoo anxiously asks, then you're done, right? Saiyan, touched, says she will enjoy the macaroons. You're the only one. Saiyan says farewell to Sangwoo and leaves. Not this, Sangwoo exclaims, grabbing her jacket to stop her. Sangwoo insists they stay and play despite Saiyan's desire to leave. Manager, you're having fun too, right? Sangwoo, flustered, tries to convince himself that everything is fine. Let's calm down. Saiyan stirs her drink, reflecting on Sangwoo's invitation. Don't you think so? Saiyan is surprised by Sangwoo's words. Sangwoo gulps, ready to spill his feelings. The thing. Sangwoo narrates that happened that day. Does it really have to be pretend? Saiyan is shocked by Sangwoo's statement. Sangwoo wonders what they should do instead. What should we do then? Clenching the weapon, Sangwoo firmly states, well, I can't do that. Sangwoo's grip tightens on the swing set, face flushed. Even if I wanted to forget, I just can't. Sangwoo is panicking as Saiyan slaps his hand away. Of course, it's absurd. Sangwoo remembers eating to forget and taking a cold shower for the same reason. Sangwoo finally realizes why he still remembers that day. He was inexperienced. Saiyan reels back, exclaiming that Sangwoo must be lying. She accuses him of doing this before. Sangwoo remembers Saiyan calling him a love expert. He realizes they are different things. Saiyan is flustered and slightly blushing. If you really want me to forget. Saiyan retorts that Sangwoo should teach her how to forget instead. Sangwoo agrees that's what he wanted to say. Sangwoo asks Saiyan if she understands. Saiyan simply replies in shock, ah. Saiyan processes what Sangwoo just said, shocked and completely lost for words. Sangwoo admits he doesn't know how to teach her to forget it. Sangwoo mumbles, hoping to just pretend that what happened didn't mean anything. Saiyan confesses the truth, she doesn't want to forget that day either. Sangwoo looks nervous. Saiyan finally understands Sangwoo's true feelings. That's why. Lost in her thoughts, Saiyan enjoys the delicious macaroon back at her apartment complex. Mincchial hesitates to continue. He thinks, Gia, did you? Mincchial's innocent remark hits Gia hard as she checks herself in the mirror. Gain weight. An announcement calls for help from Korean, Chinese translators, editors, and proofreaders. Gia snuggles with Rat, her cat, as she relaxes for the day. Gia is eating a macaroon and enjoying it. Mincchial looks troubled by something. Suddenly, a message on her phone asks, Gia, did you gain weight? Mincchial coughs repeatedly, looking down. The hashtag Mincchial you will be missed lingers ominously above. Hanjia flinches. Mincchial asks who she's been talking to about wait. Mincchial, confused, asks who Gia was talking about. He clarifies he meant their cat Rat. The pronunciation is confusing. Mincchial hugs Rat, feeling the cat's weight. He wonders if the cold weather is affecting him. Mincchial is carrying the cat as Gia nervously chuckles. Well, aren't animals like that? She suggests. Mincchial wonders if Rat is the kind of animal that gains weight for winter. Gia agrees. Gia smirks, thinking, should I raise the room temperature a little? The next morning, Mincchial leaves for work. He's wearing his backpack. Gia peeks from behind the door, asking what he wants. Mincchial stutters, saying nothing. Gia grabs Mincchial's jacket, stopping him as he prepares to leave. Yeah. Mincchial hesitates, about to say something. Gia peeks from behind the door with a stern look. Mincchial, holding his hand up, awkwardly says, "I'll be back." Gia's blonde hair is seen. As Mincchial leaves, Gia smiles, whispering to herself, "Mincchial, what's wrong with this punk?" Mincchial clenches his fist, thinking, did he perhaps notice it? Mincchial wonders if Gia is secretly giving Rat more food when he's away. The cat meows. Gia eats snacks and believes Rat's weight gain is because of her snacks. Rat shakes hands with Gia on command as she thinks he's smart. Gia gives Rat a cat treat, Churu, praising him for his tricks. "I like this kind of business relationship." Rat seems to question his weight gain. Gia defends her actions, claiming she makes Rat exercise and play. Gia is stunned, a bead of sweat forming on her cheek. "You sure did gain a bit of weight, huh?" Gia stares at her phone, noticing the delivery app she's been using lately. She then notices the scale. Gia steps on the scale. The sound echoes in her mind as she mentally prepares herself. The scale beeps. Gia grits her teeth, bracing herself for the verdict. The scale loudly announces the grim truth. Gia has undeniably gained weight. Gia, hugging Rat, declares people don't get fat easily. She asks for Rat's agreement, who stares blankly. Gia notices Mincchial has been busy lately to leave a broken scale. Gia happily hugs Rat, but Rat seems to be screaming to the high heavens. Gia rummages through her clothes, a determined glint in her eyes. What is she doing? Gia poses, proudly declaring, "See." She thinks it's impossible to gain weight unknowingly. Gia imagines herself confidently striking poses, thinking, "I'm so relaxed. Life is so easy and carefree." Gia struggles to button her pants, realizing there's no place that's tight. Gia gets off the scale relieved, thinking the scale was just weird. A loud tearing sound echoes as Gia desperately struggles to zip up her pants. That evening, Mincchial stares blankly. A green juice box is being finished in one gulp. Gia slams her glass, demanding another drink. Mincchial thinks about what she's implying. Mincchial looks surprised as he remembers Gia's reaction to the scale. Gia smirks, asking if Mincchial wants her help to work out. She thinks he's good at working out. Mincchial pumps his fist. "You've made the right decision, Gia," he thinks. Gia asks when to start as she grabs his hand. She's surprised by her own actions. Mincchial asks if he should register Gia at his gym. Holding hands distracted her. Because at this point, talking about Mincchial, there are two things to know. Mincchial works out even on his days off. Suddenly, a muscular figure looms over, declaring, "The second one, Gia." It's impossible for an office worker to go to the gym every day. Gia hears someone saying, "Gia, get up." She still hasn't fully woken up. Gia lays exhausted after working out with Mincchial. He bluntly tells her it's not enough. This chapter is brought to you by Infernal Voidskins. Join their Discord. Gia cuddles Rat, her cat, as she looks directly at the reader. The scene changes to a beach. A man and woman sit facing the ocean. Mincchial and Gia are at the beach watching the sunset. Gia asks Mincchial if he heard the news. Mincchial looks worriedly at the reader, asking what they should do. Gia closes her eyes as she states it's the last night. Hands clasp together as one voice asks, "What will mankind do?" Gia questions why Mincchial is asking something so obvious at this point. Mincchial softly replies, "That's." Gia screams as a mysterious voice tells her to lay down her body. Gia jolts awake, breathing heavily, sits up in her bed in a panic. What the heck? A dream. Gia thrashes in bed, another scream escaping her lips as the nightmare continues to torment her. It appears that karma has finally caught up to Jia. She consulted with a specialist nearby. Mincchial, determined, states people won't die that easily after they work out. Jia is struggling to finish her lunges at the gym. The trainer is motivating her to keep going. A woman yells at Jin Mincchial, commenting on his crazy brat behavior. She wonders how he eats such tasteless food. Jia looks at Mincchial's messages, finding them scary. She doesn't know when. Jia lies on a table, muttering that she knows something went wrong. Jia hopes the intense workout paid off as she steps on the scale, expecting results. She mutters she barely ate yesterday. Jia is furious. She punches the scale, screaming for it to do its job. The weight is still the same. The trainer says today they're doing a very effective workout, only 3 minutes. Jia is annoyed, asking if the trainer is screwing her over with the workout. Mincchial encourages Jia to hold the plank for 60 seconds. He knows her well. Jia lies on the floor, thinking these are her thoughts before she died today. Jia is exhausted from the workout, wondering if they're even people. She thinks Mincchial's up to something serious. Mincchial is bench pressing a very heavy weight. It is confirmed to be 160 kg. Mincchial sits at the bench press. A blonde woman approaches and asks if he's a trainer. The woman gets closer to Mincchial. An exclamation mark pops up as she asks him if he's a trainer. Mincchial denies it. The woman is surprised Mincchial isn't a trainer, saying he's polite coaching. She awkwardly admits it's her first time. The woman politely asks if Mincchial could tell her how to use equipment. Mincchial sighs, agreeing with her. In the darkness, Cyan is shocked by his response. Mincchial asks her which one. Jia points to a lat pull-down machine. The trainer gives Mincchial instructions on how to properly use the machine. Mincchial tells the woman to lift it slightly above her collarbone. She's impressed. Another woman is doing light weights. She can't believe how strong Mincchial is. She suggests squats for his body. The woman is envious, thinking about Mincchial's lack of awareness. Squats would really suit him. The trainer, with dumbbells in hand, gets furious. The trainer tells Jia to lower her body, but not too much. Suddenly, a crash echoes through the gym. Mincchial whips his head around. Jia falls mid-squat, letting out a surprised yell. Mincchial's face is unreadable as he watches her. Laughing to himself, Mincchial tells Jia that everyone is like that at first. Suddenly, the scene shifts to a woman laughing maniacally. Mincchial is in disbelief, wondering what she is. As Mincchial guides her, the woman is thinking he's her type in every way. The woman asks Mincchial if he has time after this, for coffee. Jia gasps, covering her mouth as she realizes something is off. Jia stops, thinking she needs to wait. What right does she have to be jealous? Jia recalls the terms of her agreement with Mincchial, to not interfere in each other's lives. The woman considers pretending she doesn't know anything, then says no. Jia's eyes widen as she realizes she can't ignore what's happening. Her hand clenches into a fist. Mincchial grabs the woman's wrist, saying he's sorry, but he's a married man. Mincchial turns away. The woman wonders what's going on as she tries to process the rejection. Mincchial pulls the woman away from him and declares to the gym, "This is my wife." Jia is pulled back by Mincchial, surprised by his sudden, bold announcement. Jia is in utter disbelief at Mincchial's declaration, her eyes wide and shocked. A reminder to join the Scanlation team's Discord server for updates and early access. Mincchial is lifting weights with Jia looking on. Sangwoo and Cyan are behind them looking forward. Yeonju suddenly grabs Jia by the shoulders, startling her. "Huh," Jia exclaims, confused by the sudden touch. Jia is shocked at the gesture. She's so surprised all she can utter is "ma." Mincchial cuts off Yeonju. He clarifies that he's not into tofu, but he does have a wife. Yeonju suddenly realizes what Mincchial meant. She is shocked and taken aback by the sudden reveal. Yeonju says she'll excuse herself. Mincchial realizes he just dug himself a hole with that response. That is true. Yeonju, still flustered, mutters how embarrassing the misunderstanding was. "Ah, seriously?" Yeonju asks Jia if they should go. Jia responds with a simple "sure." The pair quietly make their way down the stairs after the unexpected conversation. Yeonju seems to be in deep thought. Jia thinks her face is burning and she's going to die from embarrassment. Yeonju is mortified, she can't believe she said that in front of everyone. Yeonju wonders what Mincchial calls her behind her back. She's shocked by the claim that Jia is his wife. Someone collapses in the background, the sound of a body hitting the floor echoes. Yeonju squats in shock, her face burning with humiliation from the misunderstanding. Mincchial asks if Jia is okay and offers a piggyback ride, concerned for her. Yeonju internally questions if Mincchial is popular with the ladies. Sangwoo wonders what's going on with the two women. Yeonju asks Jia if things like this happen often between her and Mincchial. Yeonju remembers her past experience being asked to teach someone how to work out. That. Sangwoo wonders why people even work out if they're going to eat junk. If someone used a protein shake. Sangwoo wonders if the two had problems. He then accuses himself of being the problem. She wonders how they endure it when she already feels bad. Mincchial uses the stairs since the elevator is broken. Someone is going to die because of Mincchial. Yeonju is relieved that's his personality. The person who fell down is panting heavily. They're struggling to catch their breath. Yeonju panics, realizing she has to go through that workout again tomorrow. Jia thinks it's brazen of her to ask Mincchial for help, but she wonders if protein would work. Mincchial asks Jia what's wrong as he smiles. Yeonju internally questions his smile. Yeonju asks Jia what's wrong. Jia responds yep, without thinking. Mincchial smiles, eager to work out with Jia. Yeonju thinks about finding someone to work out with. Mincchial realizes that working out with Jia is more enjoyable than he initially expected. After working out and sweating together, she internally thinks about how she's unexpectedly weak in this situation. The narrator states that she ended up working out longer because of Mincchial. Yeonju lies on her bed, exhausted. She sighs and thinks extra time bullshit. Jia is sprawled on her bed, exhausted. I really am going to die at this rate. Jia collapses again, exhausted from the workout, taking a walk so early in the morning. Jia thinks that walking early in the morning makes her feel nauseous. Jia keeps walking and wonders if it actually makes sense to walk. It makes sense. Jia thinks that she was only going to jog but got tricked into running. Jia continues her morning run, not knowing Mincchial is right behind her. As Jia runs, she thinks she hears someone behind her. A voice calls out, Hanjia. Jia stops running. Suddenly someone touches her, causing her to jump in surprise. Jia's heart pounds in her chest. Who would call me so early? Jia is shocked as someone suddenly pulls her shirt from behind. Whoa. The figure says that they thought they saw the wrong person. Jia hesitantly responds, why yeah. Mincchial has a wide grin on his face. He is clearly excited about something. Mincchial turns around to see Jia. He greets her, long time no see. Jia's face is determined. She begins her intense workout routine by running. Mincchial shouts for Jia to wait, but she's pushing herself too hard. I'm tired, I'm dying at this rate. Jia shouts back that she doesn't want to and to leave her alone. The narrator points out that both Jia and Mincchial's stamina is impacted by their smoking habits. Panting, Jia realizes she should have exercised more. She is in bad shape. Lying on the ground exhausted, Mincchial uses his inhaler. He wheezes, telling Jia to leave and live well. A man gives Jia his business card and asks her to cut him some slack. Jia excuses herself. Mincchial boasts the card has a practical ruler function. Awesome, right? Jia wonders why Mincchial would do that on purpose. A sly grin appears on his face as he says, ho ho. Na Yeonjuk, a 38-year-old former producer, smugly asks if that's also marketing. He sees how eager Jia is. Yeonjuk points out Jia's curiosity. He assumes she's calling him an idiot in her head. Jia throws the card. Jia, this is a park, you can't throw trash. The woman stares intensely. What are you doing these days? She asks. The woman looks at Jia with a serious expression and asks if she's still writing. Yeonjuk, surprised by Jia's response, teases about their first meeting and past. A flashback appears. Mincchial says he's sorry and still feels sorry. That time, he says. Mincchial realizes something. He is in a panic. Jia asks what's wrong, seemingly confused. What the heck? Mincchial realizes he forgot something. Anyway, it's nice to meet you. The woman grabs Jia by the shoulders as if trying to stop her from leaving. Hey. The woman pauses, lost in thought. Call, she wonders who to call. Yeonju stares at the card in her palm, remembering what she heard. Did I mishear? Cracking her knuckles, Jia looks intensely at Yeonju, a determined glint in her eyes. A bird's eye view shows Jia walking away. Yeonju wonders if she should call him, thinking he's crazy. The warm glow of candlelight fills a room, setting a romantic ambience. Mincchial nervously anticipates the next step. Jia smiles slightly but hides her hands. Yeonju thinks to herself with a hum. She sees Jia cutting up food and imagines the face of a man with glasses below. As the candlelight flickers, Mincchial nervously calls out to Jia, who replies, "Yeah, what?" He responds, "Well, it doesn't really matter to me." Jia enjoys her chicken breast shake in a wine glass. Mincchial is trying to feel good. Mincchial believes Jia eats abnormally. Jia retorts, "Am I not allowed to enjoy my food?" Mincchial looks down, sweat trickling. Jia, with a click, takes a bite of food, trying to pretend it's normal. The narrative reveals Jia's internal conflict, admitting she only bothered Mincchial. She questions, really, what's wrong with me? Jia lays on her bed, restless. I'm not the type to feel down. Jia, laying in bed, wonders why she keeps getting tangled with past people. Chicken feet and soju are perfect, she thinks. A flashback shows younger Jia and Mincchial playing, acting like the ground is lava. Jia remembers that time being a nightmare. A panel appears of Jia wearing devil horns. Jia hides her face in embarrassment. She is the type to feel that way. Yeonju peers from behind a corner, then reaches out to grab someone. Sangwoo, wearing a suit and tie, suddenly asks, how about a dance? Sangwoo stands awkwardly in his suit, sock-clad feet on display, ready to dance. Jia peeks around the corner, surprised. A hand is reaching towards her. Before Jia can react, Na Yeonjuk, the former producer, asks her to dance. Upstairs, someone in socks stands in front of the camera, presenting something unseen to viewers. What is it? Jia declines Yeonjuk's offer, peering at him through the door's opening. She seems uncomfortable, possibly wanting to get away from him quickly. Across town, Yeonju and Mincchial sit on a couch, both looking uncomfortable. Yeonju seems to be thinking hard. Oh dear, she utters. Yeonju states that Mincchial thinks she acted strangely because she was upset. Yeonjuk tries to lighten the mood with dancing, saying it's from the movies. Yeonjuk declares it's romantic, but Jia is unimpressed. She covers her mouth, questioning his taste in movies. Yeonjuk suddenly exclaims that he's getting his moves from Bollywood films. Yeonjuk dances strangely, imagining a Bollywood movie scene in his head. Jia realizes the music is affecting her. It strangely hypes up Yeonjuk's romantic antics. Yeonjuk suddenly remembers something important. Also, when we were younger, you used to tell me something. A voice echoes in Yeonjuk's head. When you do it alone, it's weird. A flashback shows kids acting silly. But if you do it together, it's fun, Yeonjuk declares, if you're going to act weird anyway. Yeonjuk's memory continues with another thought. It's better to enjoy it together, don't you think? The memory ends. Yeonjuk watches Jia. Jia erupts in laughter, finding the whole situation ridiculous. Jia covers her face, still laughing hysterically. You're right, she says, if I'm going to act weird. Suddenly, Yeonjuk pauses, calling out Mincchial's name, claiming he has a better idea. Yeonjuk, with an unreadable face, asks Jia, do you want to do it? The city street is quiet at night, lit by neon chicken signs. Jia is caught off guard, her face a mixture of surprise and confusion. Yeonjuk asks about the fun thing. Jia, with a bottle of soju in hand, is enjoying her cheat day. She asks Mincchial if he's having fun. With a soju bottle in hand, Jia says she isn't arguing but that there is somewhere better to be. Mincchial asks what she means. Someone is cooking meat over a charcoal fire, claiming it's heavenly, but another thinks it's boring. The woman thinks going to a luxurious restaurant is too obvious a choice. Back inside, Mincchial watches Jia through his glasses, and what I truly find fun is this. Out of the blue, the woman offers Mincchial some lettuce. Open wide, she exclaims happily. The woman, pleased, smiles and says, that's the reaction I expected. The woman happily declares that the next bite belongs here to the anxious, sweating Mincchial. The woman questions why there are so many peppers. He admits he did. The woman grabs a microphone and sings passionately to a karaoke machine, scoring 98 points. Gia slaps Yeonjuk across the face. Looks like she didn't like his karaoke song. The woman steps forward in elegant heels, ready to confront the situation. Past memories flood in. Hanjimin is happy even if others deem it weird. Yeonjuk imagines Gia laughing with devil horns. Perhaps their night could be this wonderful, he thinks. It's almost too wonderful. She's the kind of person who feels embarrassed afterwards. Yeonjuk, now equipped with a childhood butterfly toy, suggests they act like kids. Yeonjuk is still talking, but Gia is embarrassed. She needs to tell him to shut up. Mincchial is outside with the wind blowing the balloon. Gia responds from inside with a quiet thanks. Gia is flustered, thanking him for the time they've spent together today. Yeonjuk questions Gia's reaction, concerned for her well-being. Gia's response is direct, "I'm going to kill you." Yeonjuk continues to express himself. He tells her to plug her ears if she doesn't want to hear him. Gia pauses, smiling serenely. "Thanks for today, you thought about me a lot." Yeonjuk insists he will repay Gia when he can. He then states that that's it for today. Gia is so embarrassed to respond that she plugs her ears and ignores him. Yeonjuk grabs her dress, refusing to let her leave. Yeonjuk calls out Hanjia, holding her hand, his expression serious. Yeonjuk holding her hand looks serious. "Why do you always cut me off?" Close up on two faces getting closer. Is this going to be a kiss? Gia screams, but Yeonjuk ignores her protest. He won't let her leave. Gia, looking up at Yeonjuk, cries out, "No way," in complete shock. Yeonjuk grabs Gia's arm, asking her why she always cuts him off. Gia is surprised by the sudden kiss. She wonders what is happening, feeling completely caught off guard. Gia is shocked as Yeonjuk forcefully kisses her. "No way," she thinks, tears welling in her eyes. That scene from the drama replays in her head, a wintry kiss. Ah, Gia's eyes widen as Mincchial playfully covers her eyes. Young Gia covers her younger sibling's eyes, embarrassed by the kiss on TV. "Ouch," she exclaims. Gia is in shock, confused by the flashbacks. She asks herself what's happening. The memory shifts to a little girl watching a couple kiss on TV. Why? That's insane. Young Gia hides her face in embarrassment, upset that the kids are watching. The memory makes her realize that the feeling wasn't just random. Teary-eyed Gia wonders, is this it? The focus shifts to a man with glasses and an intense expression. This feeling, Gia's mind races, trying to understand what's happening to her after this overwhelming realization. Yeonjuk continues to kiss Gia forcefully, holding her head steady in place. He tightens his grip on Gia's waist, trapping her. She is unable to escape his sudden actions. He speaks about the thread, expressing his annoyance with it being stuck on him all day. Yeonjuk pulls away from the kiss, stating he was frustrated. Someone shouts, "Hey Jin Mincchial." Is Mincchial nearby, seeing all of this? The forced kiss continues, Yeonjuk's glasses slightly askew in the moment. The hat with the cat ears flies off his head as they continue to kiss. The cat-eared hat falls to the ground, emphasizing the chaotic and forced nature of the kiss. Gia's eyes are wide with shock during the forced kiss. Is she starting to feel something? The kiss continues, but suddenly there's gasping from the two figures watching. Dazed, Gia touches her lips. Huh, she thinks, wondering why she didn't push him away. Gia's eyes widen as she starts to understand. She whispers, "Jaya." Yeonjuk seems stunned. What was that just now? Service. Yeonjuk is confused by Gia's response. Service, that's right, he thinks, trying to play it off. Yeonjuk asks what she means, claiming he kissed her because he wanted to. He removes his hand from her head and touches his hat. It's up to the person offering it. Yeonjuk goes to wash his hands. Did he do it to get rid of the feeling? Yeonjuk washes his hands, justifying his actions with a strange statement. A woman holds out a stack of papers, smiling, the person offering tilde. The woman smiles, there's no reason to care about the recipient tilde, a slam follows. Yeonjuk stands with his back to Gia, frustrated, What crap am I talking about? He thinks. Na Duke is washing his face in the restroom. That makes no sense. Jia looks dazed and confused after the kiss. Why did I kiss Mincchial? Jia wonders, was it because I was mad about how he kissed me? Jia absent-mindedly stirs her drink, seemingly agreeing with someone off-screen. Don't you think so? Her heartbeat quickens as another memory surfaces. A man carries a woman on his back towards the sunset. Na Duke stares at Jia, confused by her words after the unexpected kiss. Jia's face is flushed after kissing Na Duke. Her heart beats quickly. Jia recalls another memory. A woman jokingly touches Mincchial's face while on an escalator. What are you doing? Jia's fingers intertwine with Mincchial's. Is she remembering another moment with him? Clutching his hat tightly, Jia is flustered. Her cheeks are bright red. Someone is laughing at Jia and Na Duke after witnessing the kiss. Na Duke is in the bathroom, water dripping from his chin. He looks distraught. Mincchial's hat falls as he embraces Jia tightly. It seems their connection is undeniable, whatever the situation. The two share a passionate kiss, both lost in the moment. Their faces are flushed and their eyes are closed. The passionate moment is interrupted with a loud cut, cut, cut. Jia looks on, stunned and confused. A woman screams at Jia and Mincchial about the kiss. She questions if they are taking it as a joke. The woman yells at them to kiss longer and smoother, and asks if they know what it is. The woman tells them how to kiss while Jia and Mincchial look confused. What slipped? The woman holds Jia's skirt up slightly, trying to help with the scene. The woman asks if she needs to show them how to kiss again. Jia wakes up with a gasp, startled from her sleep. What a dream, she sighs, lying back down. Jia thinks to herself as she drifts back into a restless sleep. What now? The dream is lingering in Jia's mind. Did they actually kiss? Awake, Jia can't shake the dream. I married and kissed Mincchial. I might even have feelings. Mincchial thinks to himself, feelings. Jia scoffs, still caught up in the bizarre dream. Mincchial suddenly appears, startling Jia. She questions why he's even here and what's up with his tone. Mincchial notices Jia's off demeanor and asks. Jia brushes it off as a bad dream. Jia wonders if she likes Mincchial, but there's no clear answer. A quiz, maybe. Jia wonders if her opinion on food is connected to her thoughts on Mincchial. Startled, Jia sees Mincchial drinking a full glass of beer. He's drinking his food. Jia wonders if she can even call what Mincchial was drinking food at all. Keep calm, Hanjia, she mutters. Jia's face turns to the side, a troubled look on her face. Flashback to the day Jia offered Mincchial lettuce. Open wide, she happily exclaims. Suddenly, Jia falls face first into the salad with a big asterisk thump asterisk sound. Mincchial asks, are you okay? Mincchial stares at Jia, who has her face in the salad. There was a mosquito on the table, he says. Mincchial stares down at Jia. Jia, he asks, lost in the memory. So, suspension bridge effect. Jia reflects on her arrangement with Mincchial. Every day with Mincchial is anxiety, but thanks to the contract marriage I avoided scolding. Jia is reflecting on that kiss again, deciding it was just a misunderstanding. Mincchial suddenly slams his hand on the table and shouts, "Jia," as Jia gets startled. As Jia's face is stuck in the salad, Mincchial asks, you okay? Are you ill? Jia startles awake again, a frustrated scream escaping her lips. Why are they so close? Mincchial reaches over, grabbing Jia's hand. You okay? He asks with genuine concern. Mincchial expresses his concern for Jia when she didn't reply. Jia insists she is fine and nothing is wrong. Jia looks surprised with sweat rolling down her face. Mincchial recalls yesterday night while eating his salad. Jia's eyes swirl as she snaps back to reality. We're done eating, let's go to work. Mincchial stutters, offering to do the dishes if Jia just puts them away. Stay safe at work, bye. Mincchial thinks to himself while rubbing his neck. Where are they going to work? Startled, Mincchial wonders, A voice from below says, you must have had a busy morning, sir. Someone points at Mincchial. What does this mean? Where are they going? Someone points out, your socks are mismatched. Mincchial realizes he's made a mistake. Mincchial is at the kitchen and throwing something away. Where are they going for work today? Mincchial discards the coffee wrapper. He might as well throw away the coffee mix too. Mincchial stands in confusion, adjusting his glasses. Was Gia talking about the kiss again? Mincchial chugs his drink but suddenly spits it out, coughing violently. What's wrong? Mincchial takes a deep breath, trying to calm himself down from the previous events. Are they going to kiss again? Their lips meet in a kiss, a memory playing in Gia's mind. What does it all mean? A memory appears in Gia's mind. Kisses, they're up to the person offering. Mincchial sighs, frustrated, as he drops his glasses onto the table. He can't deal with it anymore. Mincchial has a worrisome look on his face. What should I do now, he thinks. Mincchial stands at the counter, lost in thought. What should he do? Yeonju is surprised to hear the clatter of shoes. She sees Gia and Mincchial arrive. What? Yeonju is being aggressively pulled towards a fitness center by Sangwoo. Good, she says. Sangwoo gives Gia and Mincchial a thumbs up and says good luck today. Gia smiles back. Sangwoo and Yeonju have arrived at the fitness center, ready for a workout. A mere accident, or so it seemed, but perhaps it was more than just a chance encounter. Yeonju continues to struggle with the workout, but Sangwoo isn't reacting at all. She's having strange dreams. The woman in the flashback is thinking about someone in the past. He was always like that. The kiss from the flashback. Someone shouts Gia and interrupts the flashback, breaking the moment. Sangwoo whispers something to Yeonju, causing her to shout in surprise and shock. Yeonju is shocked and yells at Sangwoo because he scared her. He calmly asks if she finished her warm-up. Confused, Yeonju asks, start what? Sangwoo smiles and says, do you want to start then? I guess. Yeonju stares blankly at the equipment. Sangwoo smirks and answers, bench presses of course. Back in Yeonju's head, she is still stuck on the accident. Don't you remember? Yeonju thinks maybe I do remember. Wait, it's that thing. It's the monster I saw on YouTube. Yeonju's memory is slowly returning. She mutters, hey Yeonju, are you sure this is safe? Yeonju remembers the warning about getting hurt. What if I die? She thinks nervously. Yeonju is scared as Sangwoo grabs her. He states, nothing will go wrong with a pro like me, probably. Yeonju is already lying down on the bench press. What is this so scary? Yeonju jokes that she will write Mincchial's name in her will should she die. Sangwoo ponders the weight. The barbell looms above Yeonju, 10 kg on each side. Hey, you're expecting me to. Yeonju panics and asks, what? Sangwoo states the bar alone is 20 kg, 28 kg to be precise. Sangwoo explains the weight. Yeonju starts to realize what she got herself into. Yeonju looks up at the weight, thinking, however, why is this so difficult? Sangwoo is ready to help Yeonju. He tells Gia, I'll make sure you won't get hurt, Gia. Sangwoo assures Yeonju, that's why I'm here, so don't worry, just listen to me, all right. Yeonju's heart races as she feels the pressure of the weight on her chest. What's wrong with my heart? Yeonju feels the weight on her chest and says, hell, is it beating this fast? Yeonju continues to feel her heart pounding loudly. Why would it be beating now? Yeonju is in a state of panic as she lies on the bench. She is scared. With a determined look, Yeonju grabs the barbell, thinking, okay. She tries to calm herself. The trio is in the fitness center. Yeonju's workout session begins. Yeonju struggles to lift the weight. She wonders to herself, what's this? She's shocked and confused. Sangwoo encourages Gia. Gia wonders if this is normal. Now then, be careful. Sangwoo tells Yeonju she's too tense and needs to focus on her breathing. Yeonju decides to just ignore her heartbeat. Yeonju's ears are ringing loudly as the pressure on her chest increases. Yeonju sweats nervously as she continues to lift, but then thinks about Mincchial. Yeonju struggles with the weight, exclaiming, Sangwoo encourages her, saying, that's it, Gia, there you go. Sangwoo counts her reps 1, 2, 3, 4, as Yeonju strains to lift the weight. Yeonju realizes why her heart was beating so fast. She remarks that her legs are shaking a lot. And also, a frame appears showcasing Gia's handwritten contract with a curled signature. Keep what happened between the two of us a secret. Sweating, Yeonju adjusts her collar, thinking, our relationship is better off staying like this. Exhausted, Yeonju tosses her jacket onto a bench. The workout is really starting to get to her. Beads of sweat trickle down her neck. Sangwoo calls out Gia. Yeonju glances up at him from the bench press, confused by the sudden name change. Sangwoo puts his hand on Yeonju's shoulder, but she asks him what he wants. An advertisement appears asking, "Oi, why haven't you joined yet?" Sangwoo is dragging Yeonju to the fitness center because of their debate. Jia is exercising and is covered in sweat. Sangwoo calls out to Jia, who is being dragged to the fitness center. Jia turns around, responding with a simple, "Yeah." Jia spots the two walking towards her, halting her workout. She tilts her head, confused. Huh. Below, Jin Mincchial's eyes widen slightly, a look of surprise washing over his face. What's got him so shocked? He seems lost in thought, confused by the sudden sight of Jia and the situation. Well, you might. Sangwoo is explaining that she might catch a cold. Yeonju realizes that he makes a good point. Oh, that's true. Jia realizes Sangwoo is right, she can't catch a cold either, and Jia suddenly calls out to Mincchial. "You know you're spitting out crap too, right?" she states. He replies back, "What are you on about?" The sweaty couple in the corner thinks her complaints are ridiculous and laughs at her. Yeonju thinks to herself and has an idea. She says with a smirk. Yeonju suddenly calls out to Mincchial, commenting on his strangeness. "Hey, Mincchial tilde, you're a little weird." Teasingly, Yeonju asks Mincchial if her thin clothes bother him or make him flustered. Mincchial suddenly lifts his shirt, showing his abs. Yeonju is shocked and screams. Furious, Yeonju yells at Mincchial, demanding he stop showing off and put his shirt back on. Mincchial asks Yeonju if his sudden display of abs bothers her too. Why? Yeonju admits that Mincchial showing off his abs does bother her. Confused, he says that he doesn't know about her. Mincchial states it bothers him. His abs are shown, emphasizing his physique, so. Mincchial confidently points at Yeonju, directly challenging her. What about you then? Jia is grabbed by her jacket. She has a suspicious look on her face. Jia is surprised by Mincchial's sudden question, answering with a confused okay. After all that, Sangwoo and Yeonju walk away from the fitness center and outside. Mincchial remains silent after the intense exchange, leaving Jia to contemplate. Jia calls out to Mincchial's name, her gaze focused and determined. What is she planning? Behind them, a voice calls out, "I'm really okay, you don't need to carry me home." Sangwoo thinks Yeonju is stubborn. She doubts he can carry her, seeing he's shorter than her. He declares he can do it. She's still being stubborn. Sangwoo has managed to piggyback her. Yeonju declares, "You can't." That day, Mincchial and Jia spent 2 hours just walking around. A flashback occurs, showing a young Mincchial giving a thumbs up while injured. Yeonju is shown pushing Sangwoo away as he tries to piggyback her. She exclaims that it was so tiring. Sangwoo grins, calling her stubborn in his head. Jia remembers how Mincchial would annoy her, but realizes she didn't hate it. A voice off-screen praises Jia, declaring, "Good job." Jia tilts her head. The voice encourages them to keep working hard. Jia's eyes are focused and determined. What will she do? Jia pauses, calling out Mincchial's name with a confused huh. What does she have in mind this time? With both of them exiting the fitness center, Yeonju reaches out to grab Jia's arm. Sangwoo grabs Jia's hand, pulling her along. He seems confused. Jia. Sangwoo is confused and questions why Jia is holding his hand. She simply responds, "I just wanted to." A memory surfaces. Jia thinks, "If you do, I can let go." But Jia and Mincchial weren't together by contract, it was by love. If our bond started differently, it was a night where they held hands. Jia and Mincchial walked together on the street, lost in useless thoughts. A mysterious woman is shown in a close-up with a glass of wine. What could this mean? It appears Yeonju is having dinner with someone. She's surprised to hear her name being called out. An older woman thinks back to when she first met Jia, her face nostalgic. The scene shifts to a while ago, depicting a dinner between Mincchial and Yeonju. Join our Discord server to get notified of new releases and updates. Yeonju looks surprised as Mincchial happily declares to someone, "I met Jia." Before Yeonju and Mincchial's surprise reunion, Yeonju sat across from someone at a restaurant. He urges Yeonju to remember, insisting they only know one Jia together. The man observes Yeonju and Mincchial, thinking, that attitude, it hasn't changed. The woman asks if they remember their first encounter when she gave Jia her self-made business card. She apologizes. The man apologizes to Jia for talking about work during their meal. Na Yeonjuk sighs, thinking to himself, she's calmer than I expected. The man watches Jia take a sip of wine, wondering to himself, did she overcome it? Choi Sang-woo grins, driving. Hello everybody, it's Choi Sang-woo, he announces cheerfully. Birds chirp and flowers bloom, but someone cuts the romantic scene short. Jia blushes, confessing she also doesn't want that day to be forgotten. Mincchial says to me, and also to you, so he blushes while saying it. A click sound comes, Mincchial flustered questions Jia with so. Jia trails off, seemingly at a loss for words. On the swing, Yeonju says, never mind Sang-woo, let's end it here. Sang-woo yells about her decision. Sang-woo angrily asks Yeonju if she's trying to make him mad on purpose. Yeonju says to Sang-woo that he should just tell her honestly about his feelings. Sang-woo apologizes, saying he'll be honest, and confesses he's scared of their relationship changing. Sang-woo continues, saying Yeonju knows he isn't good with people. She is the only one he can talk to, he's scared. Sang-woo confesses to Yeonju that he fears one sentence could break their relationship. Sang-woo grips the swing set tightly. Yeonju wonders if Sang-woo is scared of taking their relationship further. Sang-woo suddenly says Yeonju doesn't want things to change because she's scared. He says she crossed the line first. Sang-woo corners Yeonju, asking if she forgot that day. She calls out his name. With red cheeks and a wide-open mouth, Sang-woo blurts out, I like you. Sang-woo confesses it wasn't that day. He realizes he likes Yeonju. He would have told her. His confession echoes in Yeonju's mind, that I want to go out with you. Someday is today, she realizes with a blush. Oh, so. With pounding heartbeats, Yeonju hears Sang-woo's final confession. Her hands clench the edge of the door. Sang-woo, blushing, holds Yeonju's hands on the swing and whispers, thank you. Sang-woo is proud and says he dated someone for the first time at 29. He summarizes, he has a girlfriend. The subordinate and Yeonju blush while someone watches. Yeonju asks if he means the assistant manager. Cars honk as the traffic light changes. Back at work, someone speaks. Someone laughs loudly and heartily at what was just said in the conversation. Sang-woo excitedly types on his keyboard, remarking how smooth it feels today. Someone warns him he's going to break it. Back at work, Saeon tells someone to keep up the spirit and laughs loudly. It is lunchtime and they're eating separately. After lunch, Sang-woo says stay safe. Saeon sends a good night text with a cute image at 11:33 p.m. Sang-woo works happily and intensely at work. After work, he says stay safe to Saeon. It's 11:35 p.m. Saeon sends Sang-woo a good night text. During work, Sang-woo laughs as he types enthusiastically. After work, he tells Saeon to stay safe. They say goodbye to each other. At 11:35 p.m., Saeon sends Sang-woo a good night text. During work, Sang-woo thinks. Sang-woo often participates in company dinners, making a toast with his colleagues, and the cycle repeats itself. Sang-woo, lying in bed, wonders if he's really dating Yeonju now. Isn't this? Sang-woo in bed thinks dating Yeonju feels familiar. Flashback, Yeonju excitedly drags him to a school dinner. Sangwoo lies in his bed wondering if calling Yeonju his girlfriend is this okay. It isn't, I need. Sangwoo wonders something to break the pattern. He begins to formulate a plan. Lying in bed, Sangwoo and Yeonju look at their phones, deep in thought. Lying in bed, Yeonju blushes, phone in hand, thinking that's it. Today she'll be the one to text first. Yeonju receives a text. It reads, "Be the one who." Yeonju stares at her phone, shocked and wide-eyed. Sangwoo stares at his phone, surprised by Sayen's typo-filled text at 11:38 p.m. Sleep. Sayen and Sangwoo are surprised by their texts, both thinking, huh. An overhead view shows the face of the manhwa's lead female character. Jia rereads the message from So Sayen, Sleep. A sudden realization dawns on her face. Huh. Jia and Mincchial lock eyes and faces turn red, a whirlwind of confusion. Mincchial reads the mysterious message. Slee, I can't even pronounce it, he thinks, confused. Mincchial stares at the message, completely stumped. What on earth does this even mean? Panicked, Mincchial yells, "Aghhh, what's happening?" as he tries to text Sayen. Jia screams in frustration while Mincchial struggles with his typo-written text. Why are these keys so close? Teary-eyed and full of remorse, Jia decides to delete the contact of Choi Sangwoo. Choi Sangwoo is calling Jia. What should I do? Jia screams, panicked. Slam! Sangwoo hurriedly answers the phone call from his manager, his voice anxious. Jia answers Sangwoo's call, face full of tears. Across the hall, Mincchial wonders, I am. Jia's hands tremble as she holds the phone to her chest, still on call. Sangwoo replies, asking if she meant to ask if he was asleep. Jia thinks, I wasn't asleep. With rosy cheeks, Jia stutters, responding to Sangwoo, hello, feeling embarrassed about the typo, yet thankful Sangwoo tried. Up above, Sangwoo smiles, reading the message. Back in her room, Jia smacks her bed, filled with regret. A silent uproar brews within Jia as she stutters, barely able to get out, I asked if you were. Wearing a pink pajamas, Jia wonders if Sangwoo was sleeping or not. Embarrassed, Sangwoo asks if he disturbed Jia. Jia denies it, flustered. Sangwoo smiles, stating that calling is always better than texting. Mincchial overhears the conversation. The narrator comments on how awkward new couples can be when they run out of things to say. Sangwoo panics. Sangwoo is relieved that their pattern of failed relationships has broken. Jia feels like things are ending after 2 weeks. Someone else wants to speak up, but fear grips them, holding back their true feelings. Jia compliments Sangwoo's voice to end the conversation by chattering about random things. Jia replies, "Sleep tight," as Sangwoo asks her on a date for tomorrow. Jia is flustered by Sangwoo's date proposal. "A date? DD date? What do you mean by suddenly?" Sangwoo realizes that it is true, he's going on a date with her when. Sangwoo ponders his actions, thinking, "I just said that because I didn't want to hang up." Jia nervously wonders if they should start dating right away with Sangwoo. On the bed, Jia is on call in shock, asking what. Sangwoo retorts, asking what Jia means and if she even knows what time it is. He states the time is 11:38. Sangwoo, flustered, says, "Now if it's you it doesn't matter when." He misses her. Sangwoo is on the phone, asking Jia if she'll come out if he visits. Face red with embarrassment, Jia thinks, "Yug." At the same time, Sangwoo's manager is calling for him. Jia rebuttals that it is impolite to visit out of nowhere. Sangwoo laughs but agrees to find a day. The big day, an excited look at the movie theater's ticket booth. Sangwoo receives a text and replies to Jia, blushing. He wonders if he should call her back. Sangwoo, wearing a trench coat, a hat, and bright yellow glasses, says, "Sorry for making you wait." Sangwoo looks excited and smirks, answering, "Wah, I am also looking forward to it." Sangwoo mentions that he was worried about meeting someone they knew, like people from work. Sangwoo awkwardly compliments Jia's look but warns a weekend date might be awkward. Jia asks, "Really?" Sangwoo expresses concern, fearing they will run into someone they know. Jia thinks, flattered by Sangwoo's forwardness. Someone overhears and thinks, "Wow." Someone recognizes Sangwoo as he arrives at the theater and exclaims, "Ah, wow," they seem surprised. In the theater, Sangwoo is excited for the movie. Jia sits with popcorn. An aggressive man confronts the reader, urging them to join the Discord server.